Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room. It's the podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And this week, well, we're asking a very specific question. And what is the most important analytic that you can have for your streaming channel? We're going to answer that today. But before we do, I am one of your hosts, Reapz.
Hello, I'm LJ.
And I'm Nick Tacular. Good morning, lads.
How we all feeling? It's one of those days, isn't it? We don't usually record this podcast on the weekend, but we are. And it feels, you know, when you do something just a little out of the usual, even if it's a stream. Last night I did a stream a little outside of my hours, and it just felt like different. Not in a bad way, not in a good way, just like different. And I feel like that with the podcast as well. It's like, we usually do this on a Tuesday, don't we?
Yeah, you're breaking routine and it just feels really weird.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do with myself?
Feels peculiar is what it does.
Oh, it absolutely is. I've got a massive day ahead of me. I'm recording this with you boys, and then I have to record 3 stream scheme videos, and then I have to record a personal video, and I've got a massive day, and I've already been up for like 3-4 hours doing chores and cleaning the whole house.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And I got to edit the video as well, probably tonight, because I've got so much shit on tomorrow, and it needs to go out Monday. Because I did a shoot, but I didn't like how the footage came out. So I got to reshoot the whole thing this weekend. But at the end of the day, it's like I'd rather reshoot than not reshoot and have a shitty video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes. and then be unhappy with it. Yeah,
every time you look back on that video, you're like, I should have just done that extra 30 minutes of recording a different take.
Oh, an hour and a half of recording, but yeah.
Oh, disregard. I feel bad now.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the amount of times I've had to go re-record B-roll, or when I've done like screen capture for like a tutorial or something in the past, and I'm like, yeah, it didn't turn out great, and then I have to go back and try it again.
Yeah. I've done that.
This is the whole script, the whole energy of it. It just needed a bit more oomph to it. Actually, I'm not even recording the same one because I want to completely rework the script. Because when I actually started saying it on video, I was like, some of this stuff clashes, needs to work better. But that is the life of a YouTuber, and that is how much work you have to put into it. But at the end of the day, it's better because in 6 months' time, the video will still get views. So it requires more time and energy.
That's true. There is definitely an evergreen nature to it, which with streaming, it's like, I've done it. I'll just do better the next time. And hopefully they forget what happened. Well, kind of feels like that.
That really is like the mantra of streaming is like, not every stream needs to pop off, right? Yeah. Like you only need like maybe one a week to be like your hardcore, you go ham one. And you just need the start and the end of a stream to be good as well, right? No one remembers the middle. They only remember how excited they were at the start, maybe a few little clippable moments, and then the end, right?
Yes.
Everything else blurs together. So it really does lead you to be like, yeah, this stream I can just hang out and chat. Whereas like on YouTube, it's like, no, every video needs to snowball into the next one, needs to be better. And if it isn't, well, your entire channel starts to dip and it's like, come on.
Yeah, that you got to always like next level it. How do I make this more engaging? I said, it's all about like retention and everything like that, which is a big one and one that I'm still trying to learn how to do. But yeah, it is interesting because we are talking today about, let me go on a complete tangent. If you have any questions or anything for us, please leave them in the comments below. We love the engagement. We love answering your questions. It is such a big thing for us to actually give back and see what you think about what we're saying and some things that we may be overlooking that you're like, can I get an answer on this? Because Lord knows I need that as well. And that's why in the Discord, I ask the boys things and they ask, around as well. So yeah, please do so. It really helps us out.
Yeah, 100%. I think the questions are my favorite part as well, because getting an understanding of where the listeners are at is really, really valuable, especially when coming up with new topics to talk about, new podcasts and things like that. Because at the end of the day, we are a few steps ahead of where you guys will be, hopefully in the next like couple months or a year or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, we kind of understand where you're up to, but we do forget some of those early challenges. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's easy to forget. And I think the bigger you get, the less in touch you become with the low, like the 0 viewer to 10 viewer to 20 viewer and all that stuff, which is why so many tutorial channels are just weird fucking out there shit that's like, why would I ever use this information as a 0 viewer streamer? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's rough, but I really like the questions here because it makes me go, yeah, I remember when I was dealing with that, and this is all the fuck ups I made.
Yeah. That's going to be the latest article. Stream Room exposes every stream coach.
Exactly that. And you're right, because I do forget when I was that 0 to 10, Andy streaming away doing it for the love of it, a hobby. I was excited every day to go live and try and expand upon what I've built. And I forgot the struggles as well in terms of like, because I harbored those feelings of like, why aren't more people watching me? How do I grow and all this stuff? And then when you do reach that next plateau, you kind of forget the previous one and you focus on the next one. So yeah, please do let us know anything that's on your mind, because we would love to answer it and hopefully go back to those days. Remember, oh yeah, maybe I can apply that to today because I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, and even if we don't get to answer it like in the next episode, like don't stress, because we definitely especially LJ will actually filter through every single question, and we'll take note of all the good ones and answer them at some point. So don't feel scared to ask just because you think it might not get answered. We'll definitely get to it. Trust us.
Yes, I believe. So today, analytics,
they're scary.
Oh, they are.
Ooh, like a naughty little boy, you got your hand in the cookie jar. You're looking at your analytics. You're scared.
But LJ, I'm scared of numbers.
Yeah. Well, then stop looking at them. But I can't look away.
You can't look away from numbers. They're always there.
It's funny though, because I think that the numbers are a self-imposed pressure. You know what I mean? I think we impose the fear of the numbers onto ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we think about it, right? In the grand scheme of things, when you're just doing this as a hobby, if you have fun, that is really the only analytic that matters at the end of the day, right? Because let's be real, if you're doing it as a hobby and you don't need to earn money from it, you don't need to grow, blah, 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 then that is all it is. Did I enjoy that? Yeah, I did. That was good. And if you're doing it as a hobby and you went, did I enjoy that? No, I didn't. Then you need to obviously do something else. Not quit, but I'm saying like figure out why you didn't enjoy it. But for those who do need to stare at the analytics, who do this as a job or are intensely trying to grow and stuff like that, which, boys, I'm going to ask you a question. Is being a streamer your dream job?
Dun, dun, dun.
That is a tough one. As I've said many times, I think a dream job for me is anything in creation, content creation, anything creative. Doing this for 5 years, it definitely has been a dream job per se, because you make it what it is. But overall, I don't see this as a sustainable way of living or a career. Putting on a one-person show each day, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever you do, I don't see it as a sustainable thing that would make me overall as happy as I could be when working within a team or with other people that can kind of share the load or have different ideas and really get that zest going. So it is a dream job, but would I say the definitive dream job? That's up in the air at the moment.
Yeah. For me, I get like in terms of like the specific phrasing, streaming isn't. But more specific, more generally, just being a content creator is the dream job. Like,
yes,
I mean, like this thing, unless you're in that really top 1% where you can just, go live and you could just go live for 5-6 hours, a few days a week, like, the big, like, Pokimane or everyone like that. It's like, unless you're at that level, there's not really a lot that you can really do to, really make it fully sustainable and set yourself up for sort of like, down the track in your life. Whereas if you're just like, the way we always talk about this, why shoehorn yourself into one thing? Why put your eggs in one basket? You have like, the idea is to be a content creator, and that's making content everywhere. You have to make yourself sustainable everywhere. So that for me, it's content creation is the dream job, not streaming.
Yes.
So neither of you think streaming is your dream job. I appreciate the answer and the clarification. Out of 4,000 votes in the space of 18 hours, 67% of the small streamers I asked said that streaming specifically, is their dream job.
Okay.
So that's 4,000 with 67%, and 33% said no. So it's not their dream job. I think a lot of the 33% are probably with the same mindset of saying that it's not a dream. Okay, so this is the part that makes it tough.
Yep.
Of that 33%, a large majority of them are saying what you're saying. No, content creation is.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's larger percentage in the 33, but a lot of them are also saying it's not a dream. I'm going to have it achieved, which is a lot of the comments. And that's fine. Yeah. You can think that way, but you're taking the question literally. Just answer.
Just a question. Yeah.
You don't need to fucking hustle grind set and be like, I voted no because it's not my dream. it's my grind. You know?
It's already a
Another
reality.
It's not my dream, it's my grind, baby. I was wondering with those analytics as well, because you said 67% do say it's their dream job. I wonder how many of those people are also new to streaming, in the sense that, you know, when you start something and it's exciting and it's fresh and it's something that you like look forward to outside of what you usually do, you know, it's a nice feeling. It's like, yeah, I've got passion, I got drive. I wonder if it's that kind of like rose-colored glasses look of like, yes, I want to do this forever because I've enjoyed it for the however many months I've just done it. Or if there is that sample pool in there of like, I've done this for years and I do really love it and I want it to be a sustainable model for income, yeah, that would be a nice split. But I would say a majority of those would be people who are new to streaming and are learning at the moment.
I would say that it's honestly almost all of them are semi-new or have been doing it for years and not seeing growth.
Yeah.
I think that anyone who said yes is likely not like a decent size, which is not a go at anyone. It's just that I think the moment this turns into in any way a job, right? Then it instantly is like, oh crap, I can't do streaming full time. And the people who don't realize that are the ones who within 2-3 years of hitting their stride just completely die and fall off because they have nothing to make it sustainable for themselves.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting question to ask, both because I thought it would get me a lot of clicks, which it did, and also because at the end of the day, I think it's an interesting outlook. You know what I mean? It's an interesting outlook on the industry, on streaming. And I wanted to get an understanding of how many people were looking at this from kind of an outside perspective, like, oh, I wish I could do what they do. Oh, I wish, you know what I mean? 'Cause I think that's what dream job really means, is like, I wish I could do what those people do.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, a lot of these guys are probably sitting there and they're looking at the Summits and the Ludwigs and the Hassans, and they're looking at their stream or the Soda Poppins and the XQCs, and they're staring at them and they're seeing the stream and they're going, I wish I could do this. Yeah. And I wonder if they'd still vote dream job if they'd done it and had seen a bit more growth. You know what I mean? Do you think if the majority of people had gotten to 50 average viewers, they would still be voting, yes, streaming is my dream job? Or do you think they'd still be sat there going, no? Because I weirdly think streaming is a dream job right up until you get to like 25 to 50 viewers. And then suddenly a lot of creators who I've spoken to realize, I do not like this pressure. My fun little hobby now kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're dead on. There is pressure when you reach a certain threshold. I know that I felt. We've all felt it here. And you are right in terms of when people hit those strides. I think when you get your first raid, when you get your first follow, when you get your first sub, when you get your first donation, whatever it is, there's that high. You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, this is awesome. This is such a great sensation. I feel validated. And then when you get to that level where it's a bit more constant and that kind of what should I say, novelty has worn off of, you know, this is how I'm making money, this is how I'm making, you know, follows and everything like that. It does feel a bit stale at times. It's like, where do you go? If you've reached the upper echelon of streaming and you've got thousands of people watching you, say, where's your next step? Like, you can't just be like, oh, I'm happy just, you know, treading water here. I'll get more viewers, I can get more income. But outside of that, surely you'd want to do something else that's not streaming that would maybe stretch your skills, your expertise a bit more. And I feel that with streaming, there's really only one thing that you can do, and that's, you know, add more scenes, maybe try and make it a bit more interactive. But you look at guys like eBay and stuff like that, who are basically making MasterChef productions, like they're going with production brands to make reality TV shows, because them just streaming in front of a camera is not going to hold them over for that long. It's just, I guess it's boring to them. They want to do different things and set themselves apart. So I think you're right. I think, yeah, once you hit a certain threshold, it's like, I've achieved this. I've done it. The only thing that's going to change is the amount of viewers watching me. What else can I do?
Yeah, there's always going to be that majority that are going to sit there and say, you know, like they will be fulfilled with streaming. Like if they were in the position, they would continue just doing that, and then they would be fulfilled. But yeah, like you at a point, and I think most people fall into this, is where you kind of think like it's, even though you might be doing a different game, you know, after a month or so, you might finish something, or you do like a one-off game here and there, or you do GeoGuessr here and stuff like that, depending on whatever you're doing. At some point, everybody, like what we've discussed, we've all hit that point where there's more. you want to do more, and just streaming day in and day out like isn't enough. And I guess from the perspective of, you know, wanting to actually grow and kind of do the content creation as a career, there is so much you can't control about streaming, and it is stressful. At least when you're making YouTube videos or content for other platforms, there's things that you can control to give yourself the best chance of actually having something do well. Like on YouTube, you can make a really, really engaging thumbnail. You can brainstorm a really good title, and you can craft every point of that video to be exactly the way you want it to be. But with streams, like, you only do so much, okay? Like, you can only, you can only make the stream look as nice as you can. But it comes down to who's going to actually find you, who's going to turn up at that moment because, you know, they don't have something on. So it's really, it's tough. And I think it's not necessarily a bad thing if someone decides that they don't want to do more than just stream. Like, that's fine. Like, they're perfectly satisfied doing that. The problem is that they're putting themselves against the odds so much harder because they don't have the drive to do other things. And trying to grow on Twitch just by streaming, as we've talked about extensively, is just truly is a pipe dream. Like, you've got to be incredibly lucky to, you got to have put on a good stream and be engaging, and then, you know, continue making that growth, keep people coming, and keep retaining people before you have that kind of drop off that we've talked about, you know. I forgot what is the specific name of that, LJ? It's like getting enough people to come in to offset the people kind of slowly
on their way out.
Leaving. It's reach versus churn.
Reach versus churn, that's the one. Yeah. So they're basically they're handicapping themselves if they're not wanting to do other content. But if they don't want to, that's fine. We're not saying you have to. It's all about what you want to do. But to give yourself the best chance, you gotta spread your wings and do stuff. And like we said, Reapz, with the whole MasterChef productions, I think it's almost like people start streaming, that little creative bone just kind of that made it sound really weird.
The creative bone.
Creative bone. I was going to say the creative bone rises, but that's not what I was trying to say.
I know what you go. Yeah. That creative itch.
Yeah. And you just start wanting to do more, bigger and better things.
Yes, definitely. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I actually think that that's a very small section of people who, okay, so here's how I look at the grand scheme of things these days, right? I think there are a huge number of people who get into this. And if you're curious, we will get back into the analytics. But first, I want to set this up. And there are a huge number of people who look at this industry, right? They look at streaming and they go, this is my dream job. And that's the first 0 to 30 average viewers, right?
Yep.
But I think there's a smaller section. I think there's actually quite a huge section of people who will always sit between 0 and 2 average viewers. And because they're always at that, they never give up. So there's this idea of once you see growth, you get hungry for it, right? If you get to 10 average viewers, you're like, I want 15. You know what I mean? Yep. I want 20. But if you're always at 0 to 2, it's kind of I would like to grow, but I'm just doing my thing, right? I also think sometimes there are people out there, not everyone, but there are people out there who say I'm just doing this for fun. And that's a nice kind of scapegoat to avoid feeling bad if you don't grow.
Yeah.
Let me give an example. 2 years ago, or roughly just under 2 years ago, maybe 19 months ago is when I started Stream Scheme. And one of my very, very, very early commenters, back when I was answering every single comment, wrote, I've tried everything. I've been doing this for years. I've tried absolutely everything. And he'd comment on all my videos and I'd give him feedback and stuff. But this time he was like, I've done everything and there's nothing else for me to do to grow. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing now and eventually I will grow because there's nothing left for me to do. And I looked at his channels and he was doing not much. I'm not gonna leak who he is, but I'll send it to you guys in general.
Okay.
There you go. And if you look at videos and scroll back through that, he has a Twitch channel that looks very similar to this. His content hasn't changed in the past 2 years. And I personally would say there is a huge still amount that he could do. And when he wrote that he couldn't do anything, I wrote back a good 10 paragraphs being here is everything that you can change to improve your content and actually have potential to start growing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He was like, thank you so much for all of that. I really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do it all, blah, blah, blah. But as I'm showing you guys, he hasn't. And this isn't me having a go at the guy in any shape, way, or form. But I'm just trying to say that I think there is a space at 0 to 2 viewers where a lot of people are just happy to sit because they don't have anything to lose at that point.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I'm trying to say about, I think a lot of people would say, it's my dream job. But then they'll sit at the 0 to 2 and they won't put that effort in. Not everyone, but there's a large percentile of that. Okay. And I know this, right? Because I think that experience I had early on kind of taught me something. That when you talk to a lot of people in the content creation industry who have the idea of a dream job, if you were to say to them, which of these two things is the right way to do something? Which of these two things is the most important way to do something? A lot of the time, they won't vote based on how they actually feel. They'll vote based on what they should say. Gotcha. Right? So last week we talked about the fact that like when you ask a partnered streamer on Twitch, how do I grow? A lot of them will say, make a YouTube channel despite not having a YouTube channel. And I think it's similar to that, right? Because I also asked people, would you rather have 100 average viewers on Twitch or 1,000 minimum views per video, right? Which we've talked about. And these are two analytics that I think they're not exactly equal, but I'm curious what people think are powerful. And we got 5.2K votes. What do you think people went towards? Do you think they went for 100 average or 1,000 minimum on each video?
100 average, 1,000. On Stream Scheme, I guess they would want the 100 average viewers. But obviously, as we said, I think 1,000 views is a lot more what I would want myself. Yeah.
Well, 100%. Yeah. It was 73% of them said 100 average viewers out of 5,200 people. They wanted 100 average viewers, right? Which is fine. We talked about this last week, and we've talked about plenty about how all three of us kind of would want the other thing, and all of us sit around, 70 to 100 pretty easily. Yeah. So I asked him another question, and this is another one. This is another stat. If I were to say to you guys, you're starting a brand new channel, and I can promise you that you can start the channel and you'll have 1,000 Twitch followers or 1,000 YouTube subs, right? If you had no following whatsoever, where would you want those 1,000? And we're going to assume those 1,000 have intent to watch your content. We're not going to run the assumption of, oh, well, people don't like clicking content. You know what I mean? Like for the theory, we're going to run the assumption.
Right. Nick, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So that was 1,000 subs or 1,000 followers?
Yeah. Twitch versus YouTube, 1,000 on each platform. Which one would you rather?
Oh, I think for me, look, I guess for me and I guess us, the YouTube one is a no-brainer. I mean, at 1,000 subs, you get monetized on YouTube. So, you need the watch time. You need the watch time. But I mean, I think, like you're basically halfway there for the most part, right? And I guess if you got the intent where people are actually watching, I think there's so much more potential at the very beginning if you're starting out on YouTube. And to kind of grow on yourself and grow your brand and then convert those people over to your Twitch anyway. So for me, I feel like I want to, this is a hard one. I feel like they probably would have said the 1,000 followers on Twitch, even though I would pick the 1,000 subs.
Well, because are you saying that because last poll they said 100 average?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Reapz?
It's a tough one for me because I think they're kind of similar and the same, obviously, in terms of numbers and everything. And it's really what you do with them once you have them there that you can, filter them out to whatever platforms you want. For me, I think it's a lot harder to get 1,000 follows on Twitch because it's such a smaller platform than YouTube is in terms of people going there. So I can definitely see the credence in getting 1,000 follows on Twitch straight off the bat because as we know, it's hard to get follows these days, and viewership's declining. But honestly, for me, YouTube is the way to go. I just think it's always a nice foot in the door to have those subscribers. But for them, what do I think they said? I'm going to go with Twitch as well. I reckon they said 1,000, followers to Twitch.
Okay. So here's before we answer this.
All right.
Do you feel like if I said 1,000 Twitch follows, it would probably equal out to being maybe 15 to 25 average viewers, right? And that's if you got them quickly, right? In one consistent piece of content, right? 1,000 follows and you get them all playing like RimWorld or something like that within a month. And you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm sitting around like 15 to 25 average viewers.
Okay.
You're like, do you feel like that's accurate or do you feel like it needs to be higher for 1,000, lower for 1,000?
Go, Nick. Yes, sir.
I'd say that's about right. You could probably squeeze it to maybe 30. But yeah,
On a good night, yeah, I could say 30 on a good
I'd
night.
say like
yeah.
I'd say 20 to 30 average. I'd say for about 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
if you got
long as
them
it
quickly.
wasn't variety and you got them fairly quickly. Yeah. Your
Yes.
churn wouldn't have been too high.
Yeah.
But 1,000, so that's 1,000 Twitch followers equals out to about that, right? But 1,000 YouTube subs, I would say equals out to roughly maybe, similar concept. We'd go maybe 300-ish views in a couple of weeks, something like that. Maybe if a video does well, it gets up and gets like 1,000, like our Ninja podcast, it got 1,000 here on YouTube.
Yeah.
So in this, right, those YouTube subs are way more views than the Twitch follows technically, right?
Yeah.
But they wanted YouTube subs in the vote. 58% of 5,200 people wanted YouTube subs. Directly in line, like literally, this is like 3 days before or after I asked them would they want 100 average viewers or 1,000 views, and they want 100 average viewers, but then they want the YouTube subs.
I'm kind of confused. I'm trying to like put the analytics in my brain of the 1,000 and the 100. Yeah,
It's the same audience as well, but I don't think people realize. I think the problem is I think people look at 100 average and they think it's like this completely like unattainable thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I don't think they realize how stagnant and stalled out you get, and the fact you're ending stream and you're back to zero, whereas YouTube keeps going. And it's like it's this is why I wanted to talk about analytics today, because I want to understand it. It doesn't make sense to me why you would go 60% of viewers or whatever would go, yeah, I want 1,000 YouTube subs, but then the exact same audience getting the exact same poll are like, fuck the 1,000 views, because those 1,000 views are probably like if you had like 3,000 YouTube subs, right, or more, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so it just made no sense in my brain to go, hey, we want 100 average viewers, but we also want 1,000 YouTube subs.
It doesn't make sense. But you know what? You said something really interesting there. It's like as soon as you click the end stream button, you go back to zero. It's literally a reset button every time that you go offline. And as you said, with YouTube, it's not. It's just a counter that just stays there and just keeps ticking upwards in terms of views and engagement. So I think that hit home a lot then, the reset button on stream.
Yeah.
Put in a gaming sense, and now it's like...
Did your life just flash before your eyes just then? You're like,
Streaming
Angel's formula,
streaming is a roguelite game. That's what it is. You go live on your run, you do your run, try and level up your gear and level everything up, and then you end your run with a death, aka ending stream.
Wow.
And then you have to start again with your little upgrades of like 5-10 followers you get last stream and a few chatters joining a Discord.
that is the best
procedurally generated. What? Oh god,
the best metaphor for streaming ever. Streaming
we've
is a
done it.
roguelite.
There we go. That's the podcast. Streaming is a game that you cannot win.
Yeah. But you know what? That is apt. I'm stealing it for a video.
You absolutely should.
It's the Elden Ring
incredible.
of content creation. It's so difficult.
That's
honestly
so what makes
great.
a good run then? All right. So like you know how
Ooh,
like
I
if you're doing a roguelike run of like a game, you know what makes a good run. You play some Hades and you're like, you a good run in Hades is if I get up to Hades himself and fight him, right? You know what I mean?
I know what you're doing.
If I can get up there and fight Hades, my father, then that's a good run for me, right? Maybe I pick up some extra currency that I can go and upgrade my weapon so I can get further. Maybe I pick a different weapon this time so I can get some heat, which is more upgrades. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like for streaming on our roguelite run, when you look, obviously the next day, 24 hours after a stream, when you go back and look at your analytics, your stream summary for that stream, what do you deem to be an analytic to determine how good the stream was?
Unique chatters for me is the big one. The more people to me that are engaged and like coming out of their shell to go, yo, what's going on? All this kind of stuff. And I'm new here or just coming in and dropping in and saying, hey, saw you were live. I think that's a big one for me because then it shows how much engagement that it has rather than passive engagement, which can be from, people hosting your channel, raids, all that kind of thing. So yeah, that would be my big analytic for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think also looking at how many sort of unique views you were getting, and then I kind of guess like comparing that to your graph, like your stream graph, and seeing how many of those unique viewers were kind of staying, and just kind of just figuring out like, were a lot of people just kind of like bouncing straight away, or were you holding people for a while, and maybe were your followers a bit higher that stream, so that was showing that a lot of people that were coming in were actually following and they were staying for a bit before they were bouncing. So that can kind of give you an idea of how well the stream went as well.
Yeah. As long as you take into account, the large majority of unique views are bots. And also unique views isn't really a unique. So like one of the annoying things about Twitch is the fact that like if someone joins your stream, lurks for 10 minutes, comes back and it's like, oh, I'm a little delayed and hits refresh, or even just comes back and talks again later or whatever it is, it can count for another unique view. Oh, so it's like, so all of, and like, for example, you'll also see your VOD views when you end a stream. Obviously your VOD views spike up then within that like 4 or 5 hours. A lot of those VOD views, 90% of them or whatever it is going to be a bot usually. Just like trawling through, or people refreshing, or someone coming back after using the loo and being like, why am I delayed, or whatever it is. It's really rough. But I got a hot take.
Here we go. LJ's hot take.
Hot take. Here we go.
Average viewers means nothing to me anymore. I legitimately, like, I don't care. Like, I don't think average viewers means anything about whether or not a stream is good. And I think when it comes to analytics, everyone cares about the average viewership the most because they have goals with it, like, oh, reach partner, or oh, reach this thing. But here's the thing, right? When you're at someone of our size, why the fuck does average mean anything? Because all average is telling you is that you had people watching. It doesn't tell you that they're converting into a sub. They're not chatting, so they're not like aggressively engaged. Like it really doesn't give you much, right? So, and then the other day I was put on the front page for Red Rooster, right, which is a really good stream. Funny moments, amazing, really great. And at one point I was at 1,000 viewers, right? 1,000 viewers. You'd think I'd have shitloads of unique chatters. No, because at a certain point, it doesn't matter anymore. Like I was on the front page and therefore I had a bunch of empty views from people who are scrolling through Twitch. You know what I mean? And the same goes, like so many of these big streamers have embeds now. Like literally, like there are multiple of them who are like, I could totally embed myself on this site and get this thing. Like I honestly do not think average viewers matters whatsoever. I'm now at a firm point where it's like, if I have people chatting consistently, so I look at my unique chatters and I look at my graph and I go and I look at my chatters and how they go up and down throughout the stream. So I'm with you, Reapz, in the sense that unique chatters is so powerful, but just the number by itself means very little because I could get a raid of 100 unique chatters, right? But they all leave instantly. And therefore it's like, okay, they're not really engaged. So what I've been looking at is my graph of chatters. So I can see how engaged my chat is every 5 minutes. So it'll say like, you had 15 people talk this 5 minutes, 20 people talk this 5 minutes. And I can go through my entire stream and see exactly when my content was engaging. And I could also compare that exact graph to subs and follows. So I can see if, okay, when I had a huge spike in people chatting, I also had an increase in revenue right after. Or, okay, when I had all these people chatting, I was more likely to get follows, right? But at the same time, it's like, none of that means anything for average viewers. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, because I could be at 50 average viewers. I've had streams where I've been at like 75 average viewers and I've been gifted 100 subs from a regular. You know what I mean? I've also had streams where I've been at 180 average viewers for most of the night. And I've only had I've had fuck all unique chatters and 3 subs. Like legitimately at this point to me, average viewers means nothing other than trying to put myself higher in a category. And I don't want to grow by being high in a category because I also have stopped caring about Twitch follows a lot of the time because the majority of Twitch follows have very little intent to watch me for anything else that isn't the category they followed me for. And a lot of the Twitch follows I get are offline. So like as a streamer, I'm looking at all my analytics and looking at all this stuff and I'm like, okay, so followers don't overly matter other than to see that they want certain games. Okay, so average viewers doesn't really matter because I could be put on the front page or it could be a massive raid from like a stream room member or something like that. Or sorry, a stream team member. And then it's a bunch of lurkers. And it's like, okay, what's the point of having 200 viewers if 150 of them are lurkers? You know what I mean? Like, and it's fine. Lurkers are fine, but I'm talking like completely dead lurkers. Like they're in bed, right? They're like, they've been followed over by a bunch of raids and stuff like that. I've just stopped entirely caring about any of my analytics on my Twitch stream. The only thing that matters to me right now is I'm trying to boost the subs gained because I want to build revenue on Twitch so that I can pay a editor so I can to make content on the LJ channel. That is literally all it is. But otherwise, here's the thing. I just have fun. And that's all it is. I just have fun on stream now. I don't give a fuck about my average. I don't give a fuck how many followers I'm getting. I got follow botted for 350 followers the other night. I didn't care. I literally didn't care. No one in my chat knew it happened because I just pressed one button, turned it off. And I literally walked away from it being like, in that moment, I was like, do I care about this? Is this going to foul my mood? Am I going to be upset? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right? Literally. And I realized none of my analytics on Twitch matter other than dropped frames and and how many unique chatters I have in every 5-minute space of my stream. And then the last one, which can't be measured by an analytic, whether or not I enjoyed myself.
Yes, that's right. You're dead on in terms of the enjoyment factor, because as we've talked about many, many times, if you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it in the first place? And if you have to, struggle to go live, then that's probably not a good indicator that you're doing what you want to do. But when it comes to analytics, I'm very much the same. I'm not a numbers person in general when it comes to my own views. Like I barely go in to check out my summaries and things like that. There are times when I do a deep dive, usually every few month or two, something like just deep dive. I go back and I'm like, oh, cool. What happened there? Oh, that's right. That was the night of blah, 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 blah. But for me, it is about the enjoyment. So if I can enjoy myself on stream and afterwards I'm like, yo, that felt good. That felt really good. Or the times where you're like, oh, something was off there. Well, what was that? That's what really gets me in the zone of like, okay, I want to improve, or I want to change, or I want to, shake things up a bit. Because Lord knows that even if there is a number that you can tell me, you got this amount of people at this time, it's like, that's great. How can I replicate that? It's very hard to, unless I play the same game and hopefully at around the same time, and hope that those same amount of people watching that haven't followed yet now follow me. You know what I mean?
It's impossible.
Exactly.
It's literally, you're right though. Like, even what you're saying there isn't enough to actually replicate it.
Exactly.
Like I do streams where it'll literally be me playing Minecraft and I'll get 180 average, and then I'll do a stream, the exact same stream, but with other stuff the next day, exact same format, everything, and I'll get 120. And it literally just comes down to the fact that it is impossible to replicate your average viewership, and you see that across the board with every single creator, every single streamer. But on a platform like Instagram, a platform like TikTok or YouTube, because people can absorb that content 24/7, it's actually really easy to understand what the replication is. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? In the sense that you can really see it in the terms of when you look at Stream Scheme. One of my best videos I've ever made was how to stream to 0 viewers and grow on Twitch. That was what it was, right? And then a year and a half or a year later, I said, okay, well, this is my 850,000 view video. I'm going to replicate this, but better. And I upgraded it and made it better, and I released it called 32 Tips. And now that one's got 958,000, and it's going to be my first video to hit 1 million, right? And you can replicate that. But if I'd said, okay, this Twitch stream of Minecraft got me 60 follows and I got 180 average, I'm going to do the exact same thing and go live again in Minecraft. I can't replicate any of that. There's no control.
Yeah. There's so many variables.
Yeah, you can exactly. And I've seen it happen, countless time and again for me. It's where something will do well for maybe 1 or 2 streams. You're like, oh, okay, so this is good. All right, here's how the format kind of the stream went. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to try and do a similar thing. And you try it again and it's not as successful, you know? And you're completely right. And look, admittedly, I'm a bit similar to you, Reap. So I don't really try to pay too much attention to those Twitch analytics, all the general ones. Whereas the most thing that I'll do from day to day is I'll look at the stream elements graph that gets sent in my email inbox, just so I can just get a feel for how the stream went overall. But overall, I try not to pay too much attention to it because I'm focusing on what I'm doing in the moment and making sure that I'm enjoying myself and that I'm trying to actually be engaging. Which has been amazing. The Outer Wild stream have been some of the most fun streams that I've had in ages, because I am thoroughly enjoying myself and everyone is thoroughly enjoying me watching me go insane. It's just a great time, and I think is that the secret, boys? Just it's everyone's leading they're leading everyone astray. It's just everyone's forgetting to have fun. Yeah, can I say something? I think, I don't know if you guys feel the same. Sometimes I'll look at some very large streamers, and I'm talking streamers, that are thousands, in the thousands, somewhere in there. And sometimes they just look miserable. They're just going live 5-6 days a week, doing the same thing over and over, whether they're a singular game or a few different games. And they just don't look like they're enjoying themselves all the time.
I do.
A lot of them just look kind of lukewarm.
Yeah. I think you've reached a stage. I think everybody reaches a stage where it's kind of like, what is it? Work in to work out. So in terms of if you put the work in and all you have to do is go live and you get X amount of income average per stream, and you just got to go live and you don't really have to do anything extra, then they just do that, and that's completely fine. They're setting themselves up. They don't know how long that's going to last. So they push themselves more while the going is hot. And then we see that, like everything, it always tapers off. It hasn't tapered off for anyone. No one's ever stood up there for a certain amount of time. And it really does come down to the fact of like, if we put ourselves in that situation of we're hitting thousands of viewers, right? And we go live, but we know that we're not really enjoying ourselves as much, but we are getting an income from it. Would you still do it? Or would you be like, oh, I'm not having fun, so I'm going to stop? I think I'm going to go on a limb here and I'm going to do my hot take is like, I think I would keep going while the going's hot, even if I was a little bit miserable, because at least I have an income for the future that I know that I may not be able to achieve again at this time. Who knows what's going to happen in streaming? Everything changes like that. But it will come to a point where it's like, how much is this making me unhappy? And that's when you've got to like shift into gears there, because there's some days you just don't want to work and you go live and whatever. But I do see those streamers that literally just check in and check out. And I think, speaking back to Amaranth, she's the hardest worker out there. She does so many days, and we've heard that she's going to retire from streaming because she's had enough of it. But you can understand why. You can understand like just the amount of not only the hatred she gets outside on like social platforms and everything, but just every day having to wear or go into hot tubs and do ASMR, and just like, as you said, she was watching Netflix in her other screen while doing it, or other streams, because she's that, kind of bored and just, doing the motions to get her through the day.
Yeah. And it's really important to remember as well, because there are going to be people who listen to this and sadly, this really sucks to say, but sadly, in every single, when you do anything to do with streaming and content creation, and you talk about the industry, you talk about education, you get a lot of lovely people, right? One of the shitty things I've had to realize over the years is there are so many lovely people who just have such shit takes, right? And sadly, we have to add the extra thing here that everyone here supports Amaranth, all right?
Yes.
Please do not comment on this trying to talk shit about her or saying that women have it easier. They don't. They just don't. And I hate to have to say it. But like, the reason she's watching Netflix, people are going to be like, she doesn't work hard. You just said yourself she's watching Netflix. It's because she's literally working to try and earn millions so she can run a animal rescue. Okay?
Yeah.
What are you doing? All right?
Yeah.
I got so angry the other night on stream. Like, dude, someone asked, and they're not a bad person, and this isn't me saying this person has shit takes, but someone asked, do you think it's easier for a female to grow on Twitch? And I was like, okay, you're asking me, is it easier? Okay, right? No, it is not, right? I was like, you're asking me this question, I'm going to give you an honest answer. It is not easier. And I was totally chill at this point. I was just being like, I get stressed out and upset from having people talk shit about me in my comments and having hate comments and stuff like that. I couldn't imagine how horrific it would be to get sent fucking dick pics, tribute pics, death threats, people doxing, harassment, stalkers, trying to like do all sorts of shit, which is way more common to every female. I've talked to female streamers who have literally 3 average viewers, and they're already dealing with this.
Yeah.
Literally, like already they deal with it from get go to start go. So your question is it easier for female streamers to grow? Is it easier for women to grow on Twitch? No, overall it's not, because it is fucking draining on your mental health to be able to put up with that. And you have to be one of the strongest motherfuckers on the planet to do that. And I'll tell you what, right now, if I had even half of some of the shit that I've seen female creators who I'm friends with put up with, I would not do this job.
Correct.
Before Reapz, when you were talking about would you keep streaming if you had thousands of viewers but you weren't enjoying it, literally I was going to say my answer would have been, as long as my chat wasn't something I hated to listen to. Because
that's good. Yeah.
The part of streaming that I like the most, and the reason why I hated trying to stream to make YouTube videos out of it, was because the thing I love is just laughing with chat, right? Just having a laugh with chat. And if I had 2,000, 3,000 viewers and my chat was fucking toxic or annoying or rough, then I'd be out. But if I had 2,000, 3,000 viewers, but it was my chat I have now, maybe just like times, 10 or 20, I'd be all about it. Yep. Right? Because my chat's some of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever heard, right? You know what I mean? But like, it's a shame in this industry, sadly, that I think when you bring up female creators or things like that, there are a lot of really lovely people who are normal, and then they have really bad takes on things.
Yes.
Like just bad takes. You'll be like, hey, is it easier to grow for a woman? And you're like, no, it's not, because of all these horrific shit they have. And they go, well, let's ignore all the horrific shit they have to deal with and think about this though. They have breasts and people want them, so they stare at them more. And it's like, okay, so who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Can you grow breasts right now? Can they remove theirs? What do you want to happen in the resolution and what's being brought up? And I know I'm on a bit of a rant here, but it's just
I understand.
I'm just so tired of it, because like I know a lot of lovely creators, and sadly they get fucking destroyed just because of their gender. And it's like they either the worst part is, no matter what, they get the hate, right? Because if they grow, they're only growing because they're women. Okay? And then if they don't grow, so they're talentless because they only grow because they're women, or they don't grow, and it's like, yeah, look, you're so talentless and you can't grow because you're a woman. It's like there's literally no winning. I'm on a sidetracked rant, but it's been on my mind this week because there's been some YouTube comments that I've been like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. It's come up a lot.
But I think, do you feel like it's coming majority from people that just like a lot of like very small people, kind of like less than sort of 20 average viewers or even less than that, because they see, I guess, why do you think people are having this mentality and they're just so ingrained in their thinking about this? It's like, because they see some early, like they see creators like that are women that like have a little bit a faster uptick, and all of a sudden that's changed their perspective. Like, oh, they have it easier. It took me 5 months to get to 10 average viewers, and it only took this person a month. Like, do you think it's like something like that?
Well, the problem is yes, probably, but the problem isn't that. The problem is the fact that I grew faster than the majority of these people, but they say that I'm talented. But when when someone with a vagina does it, they say that it's because they have a vagina, which is just like the most frustrating thing ever to undermine someone's hard work, right? Like, isn't that just like it's like, imagine you spend years working hard and growing your stream to be like thousands upon thousands of viewers, using every marketing funnel you possibly have, right? And then people are just like, yeah, but you only got there because of XYZ. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, dude. It's like, okay, they still got there. Leave them alone, right? Like, I think a lot of people need to spend less fucking time judging other creators by how they grow or what they're doing, and more time looking at their own VODs. You know what I mean? Like, there's a good reason why Reapz, you've been doing so much better than me lately, and that's because you put on a really good show. You know what I mean?
That and the raids. I was going to say is not that I haven't been putting on a better show or anything like that. But what I would like,
that's fine though. You're allowed to. This is the thing, right? Okay, from an objective point of view, you do though, because I'm not going out of my way to make something unique or interesting or engaging. I'm literally just trying to mess around, right? But you actually do, like, and you can see that in the sense that I have all of the buttons to change cameras, zoom in, zoom out, do all those things like that. And some nights I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to do any of that, but you, even if you go live and like, I don't know if I want to do any of that, you are still constantly camera switching and doing it all and everything like that. So objectively, I can confidently say you put on a much more engaging and better show tape.
I press my buttons. That's I can say that, but whether that correlates to a good show or not is up for debate, obviously.
He's being
but
too humble. I hate it. He's being nice and humble and stuff.
Here's what I do want to say. People who throw stones it's very easy to throw stones, as we know. It's easy to be negative and to project hate and everything like that because it feels like a load off. But as you said before, which I don't think a lot of people take to heart, let's just say that you're one of those people that throw stones and then you make it. And then people throw stones at you and you're like, but I made it through all this hard work. What's the difference there? What's the difference between you, the person who threw stones at, say, Amaranth, and then you who made it and people throw stones at you? Because they've got exactly the same right to do it and the exact same takes to do it. But people obviously find any excuse because if it's not them, it's somebody else's fault. It's not their fault. It's somebody else's fault. Yeah. And they will look at those people that are higher up in a category or who are doing the same kind of variety or niche that they're doing and go, why aren't I as popular? Especially when it comes to Minecraft, because there's so many Minecraft creators out there and you can see that there's this like toxic underpinning of like, you know, all these people attack this Minecrafter, all these people attack this Minecraft. It's just this weird thing that, you know, luckily I'm not in that demographic to fully understand it, but I see the kind of trickle down effect of it. Yeah. And it really does come down to, if you are casting stones, then how are you different at all from the people you're casting stones at? Because let's just say that they did get to this point because they got lucky. They did nothing. They just knew people. They knew somebody, an amazing content creator, and that content creator brought them up with them. What difference does it make? Because people still, at the end of the day, choose to watch those people. You should be angry at the people watching them rather than the person itself, because obviously they're hitting a market. Obviously they're hitting some sort of newfound land with them. So why are you blaming them for enjoyable things that people are watching? I don't get it.
They're jealous of the success. That's a lot of it. What it comes down to, they're just incredibly jealous, and they're spiteful. Like, you're succeeding and I'm not. And then rather than exactly like you said, like rather than looking in the mirror and taking a hard look at themselves and their content, they just decide to spend their energy just attacking other people because somehow that's going to make them feel better. And it's like, oh, if we bring down all the top streamers, then we will finally rise up. It's like,
they'll see my true talent. Yeah.
Well, it's like
exactly.
it's like that old saying of a raid means nothing if you have shit content, right? Like, a lot of people are like, if I just got raided or I have a bit more exposure, and it's like, okay, it's like, nah. Like, I think that there are some nights where if I was raided by, like, you know, a big streamer, that I don't think I'd retain a single person, because some nights I'm not putting my best foot forward. It's just me playing Minecraft and hanging out, right? You know what I mean? And I think that I'm aware of that. And you should be aware of that. But I think the whole thing, before we go back onto some analytics that I want to talk about, to wrap it all up, I think it's kind of like, you know, that meme where it's like boys will do anything other than go to therapy, right? It's like boys would rather conquer all of China before going to therapy. I think it's kind of like that, where it's like small streamers will blame anyone before looking at their VOD.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and it's such a rough one. And it's funny, right? Because I think there are a lot of people who listen to this podcast. And maybe this is jaded, but I don't think it is. And I'm not having a go at people. But I think there are a lot of people who listen to this podcast and they're like, yeah, I agree, guys. I agree. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's really good. I have really good advice. But they don't do any of it. I'm going to say.
For
and
sure.
I think that's with Stream Scheme as well. They'll listen to a whole video and they'll be like, yeah, that's all really good advice. But they won't do anything. Like, for example, like that guy I linked you a second ago. He's been watching me for 2 years. He commented on my latest video. And he's not put any of it into action. You know what I mean?
As soon as I saw the thumbnails, I was like, maybe a less serious face for going live.
I was going to say, I was like, it's
like
not
you're about to be interrogated.
I was like, the thumbnail's like not the most engaging thing in the world, but I mean, I went for a scroll, and you know, when there was no creation of the thumbnail. It was just game wallpaper. It's just like, what's really making someone going to click on that? They're not going to.
But I guess my kind of take was essentially what I'm trying to say is like, it really is a lot. I think there is a lot of people out there who would rather spend their energy casting stones or doing things like that, or, you know, finding other reasons. And I'm going to throw it out there. I think one of the worst takes that has come up in streaming, right, that has caused a race to the bottom, right, is the fact that it's become such prevalent and such common knowledge to say, oh yeah, Twitch discoverability is terrible. Because it gives all these people an excuse to never put time in. Because they go, you know, well, Twitch discoverability is terrible. And it's like, you can't say the words Twitch discoverability is terrible and then in the same sentence not have a YouTube channel or something like that. You know what I mean? And you can't say in the same sentence Twitch discoverability is terrible and then only stream. Or you can't watch a guide and go, yeah, this is a really good guide. I will go and watch my VOD and come up with 5 things to improve. Or you can't watch a guide that literally just says only that and then never do that. You know what I mean? And I think I'm not trying to call individuals out. And if anyone is listening to this and they feel like they're being called out, please take this as an honest thing, right? Like if you feel like maybe you are doing this, then that means that you are absorbing content not for the sake of learning, and therefore you're wasting that content. Like you're wasting your personal time on things you could be doing better. You know what I mean? It's like, recently I was telling you boys, I made a habit, a common goal, where I would no longer watch something purely for the sake of having background noise, right? So like if I want to unwind at the end of the night, I'm not going to throw on a 2-hour-long VOD or a Point Crow video or all these things, or just throw Donkey on again for the 50th time because I've watched all these videos. I will now go out of my way to find an interesting topic to have in the background that actually gains my attention. And I think it runs the exact same concept. If you watch stream advice or any kind of how-tos, tutorials, guides, reviews, anything like that, I think to a certain degree, you need to be willing to walk away from that and go, okay, now I'm going to take action And if you aren't taking action, well, then you just wasted like 30 minutes of your time.
Yep. You're right. You're right. There's, as you said before, in terms of like discoverability, I feel like every person has this thing called a get out of jail free card, which is basically, I didn't reach this because of this, right? And it's so easy to do that. And obviously, and I think you're also right in terms of, I know that I'm the same. Sometimes I will not institute what I've learned because whether it's due to laziness, whether it's due to, I don't know, other engagements and things, or sometimes I may just forget. But you're right, I do that as well. I think we're all guilty of that. I do as well.
Yeah,
you're guilty of it to some extent.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think at some point, you know, you're always there's at some point you're going to be watching, you're going to have the intent to learn and take away something, and then sometimes it just won't end up getting acted upon. Like, for whatever reason that might be. But I think everybody can admit that they've done that at some point.
And it really comes down to the fact of like, if you have done that, but you feel like you're doing it more so, like you've never actually fully gone through with something, I think that now is the time for you to look at it and go, what if I just tried to do that one thing?
That's
you know, it doesn't have to be all of them. Just one thing that you can put on a piece of paper. And we all know this feeling, boys. When you can tick it off a list, it's just like, I did it. It's done. You get this like endorphin rush and you're like, I gave it a shot. Because that's when motivation starts, I find, is actually putting in the hard work and then some of the sacrifices. Because Lord knows we had this dream, or I should say dream. We had this idea of doing a podcast, and we could have easily just kept talking about it and like, one day we'll do it, one day we'll do it, one day we'll do it. But we're like, no, let's actually sit down and do it. And now we're about 21, 22 episodes in. We're still going strong. We've created all these bonds, obviously, between the three of us in terms of channels and cross-pollination and all this. And obviously meeting so many amazing people who've come out of the woodworks just because they saw the podcast or commenting on it. And it means if we never did this, I would be like, oh man, what could have been? But now that we're doing it, even if it's not going to be this amazing success, you know, at least we put ourselves out there. And it really only takes us like 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week to record it. And then a quick edit, and then you put it up there. And it's like, okay, let's see how people take to it. It's that simple. It really does take about 6 hours a week. And you can find those hours, but you don't have to be podcast. It doesn't have to be stream. It doesn't have to be anything. I think anything that you can put your mind to and actually go, yes, I'm going to improve myself for the better. I'm going to do this instead of this. Instead of watching another episode that I've seen 50 billion times, I'm going to go out and touch some grass, or I'm going to, I don't know, make a freaking Lego set. Something that you don't usually do, but gets you like going. That really inspires me. So I want to press that home more than anything in just the real world. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. So I was trying to say, if you're listening to this, you know, you need to take the action, right? Like the hard part is that I'm trying to like point out the fact that there's a lot of people out there. This is why we're talking about analytics, who will say one thing, agree with one thing, but then they'll completely go and do another. And I think that's pretty normal in human life that we do that. I know I do it. For example, I tell people, you know, sub goals and stuff like that. You should try and make them have really good content and whatnot and do those things. But then also I do know that they increase subs. So sometimes I'll throw mine up on screen when I've had a big dip and I need to boost it back up, right? Yep. So like there are good ways of doing sub goals. I'm doing like a halfway version where it's not something I would normally recommend, right? But at the same time, what I'm trying to really push home is I think there are a lot of people out there who will listen to something, nod, agree, and then never actually take steps to walk towards it. And that's what I was trying to say is like, if you are nodding and agreeing, then you should be taking a step right away into it. Yes. And speaking of nodding and agreeing, you guys...
I'm not in agree.
Yeah.
We have 3,000 votes who agree. 3,000 votes, and 88% of them agree with us. That says unique chatters are more important than Twitch follows as an analytic on stream. If they watch a stream back and it has more unique chatters, they're happy.
Yep. And as it should be. I think that that's the best thing that you can do. And it feels great. It feels engaging. And it feels like when people are talking to you, that's where you want to be. I know I do. When there's a new person, the best, isn't this the best feeling, guys? When you see a new person in the chat, they type once. You're like, hey, Bootyman69, LJ's go-to. And then 5 seconds, 10 seconds later, Bootyman69 is followed. Because you gave them that engagement. You looked at your chat and you were like, hey, how you going? Welcome to the community. And they're like, I like this community. I want to be a part of it. And they follow. And I'm not saying that follows everything, but it's a nice sensation knowing that you have had a communication with somebody out there and they're like, let's reciprocate that. Let's give you a little follow.
Can I just say that is such a strong like point of like when you're streaming. Like someone came in and chatted before even following.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get your people that will follow first because they've been watching for a little bit and they're like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of get into the chat. But when someone pops into the chat first,
Yeah.
you engage them. You get a response, right? You start to talk like, and then they follow like 5-10 minutes later. Like,
Yeah.
it's so powerful because there is a very strong chance that that person is going to come back. I'd say almost guarantee that that person is going to come back.
Well, it's 50-50. There's an actual stat for
well,
it.
yeah.
There's a little direct stat that says that if someone chats on their first time visiting, there's a 50% chance they'll come back.
Yeah. So,
Which has odds.
50-50
I like the
is
mods.
better than, I say, the mods are pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think it's so powerful. And if they do return, if they do fall into that good 50% and they come back, I'd say there's probably a stronger chance that they end up becoming a regular. Like if they're going to come back a second time, they'll probably keep returning. And some people it's not that they're looking for a parasocial thing on Twitch or anything, but some people just genuinely just want to be acknowledged and interact with people.
Well,
and
it's
so
live
if you give
streaming,
them
right?
that,
That's all. That's the point of live streaming. I think a lot of people forget is that thanks to the advice. So we talked about this a bunch so far, but like this last couple of weeks. But like thanks to the advice of turn your streams into YouTube videos, which I've given as well, and I do think it's objectively good advice. It's just like because of that. Sorry, I burped there. Because of that, it means that we kind of forget that the whole reason you go to a live stream is for the interaction, right? Like who gives a fuck about the rest of it? And you know what else really hammers this home? If you want chatters, right, which 88% of those people voted, they did want chatters. We all agree chatters is fun. Chatters is a great analytic. So here's the question I asked them. You click on a stream that has less than 15 average viewers, okay? It has follower-only chat turned on.
Yeah.
What do you do? There are three options.
Okay. So I was already miles ahead. Go on.
Yeah.
I follow so I can chat and say hi. I lurk and I don't chat. I leave because I don't want to follow just to chat. What would you guys do? Just off the top of your head, just pick one of them, nice and easy.
Straight last one, without a shadow of a doubt. When I see someone's like followers, here's the thing, I can understand it from a reason of maybe that this person gets trolled a lot. Maybe they're a part of one of those tags that really just hammers home and they want that kind of safety. Completely get that. From my perspective of not knowing that though, when I go into a small stream and there's barely any chat interaction going on, this person's not really talking or whatever, and it says follower only mode, that to me is the biggest turn off of like, I don't think I'm going to interact because it doesn't really lead to interact with me, but you've got to give me something before you interact with me, and that's your follow. And then you got to wait 10 minutes and then you can finally chat to me. So the last one.
Yeah. You're right. Like sometimes, sometimes people will have their own reasons for why they have follower only mode, but I think a lot of people, they just try and use it as a tactic. Just like, I can get the eye out, I can get their follow, and then they'll want to chat. It's like, I guess not. Listen, I'm gonna say, I think a lot of people that might end up do that. They think that they're probably a bit greater than they actually are, and they think, oh yeah, I'm so great that they need to follow to chat. And it's such a massive turn off. Also, if you have follow only mode on and you get rated, that is the terrible thing ever.
It's the biggest boner killer ever.
Yeah, huge. You go in, especially like you go in, and then none of your viewers can go in there because they're like, oh, it's follow only mode. Okay, you're basically just slamming the door to growth and in people coming into the chat.
It's not good. It's really not.
On the topic of people who have it on to protect themselves, I totally agree, right? One of the things I've always said is like, if I tell you to turn follow only chat on, chat off, that's me saying that to people who are wanting to have more chatters and wanting to grow, right? Because that is best practice, right? It is proven pretty much that if you have follower only chat on, you will have less people interact and less people follow, and you'll have less growth. If you are in a tag that is under attack a lot of the times, I totally understand it, right? If you want to have it on, you just do your thing. All I can do is give you best tactics.
Okay.
But here's one of the things, right? A lot of people say, I have it on because it stops the bots that ask me to buy follows. And anyone who says that, you're kind of just putting your hand up and saying, I've done zero research.
Yeah.
Because like that is like one of the quickest things to fix. It is literally just like one click of an auto mod, either on Twitch or one of the bots, and you can solve that. Because 7,600 plus people, right, voted on this poll. Okay. 64% of them said, I leave because I don't want to follow just to chat, right? Which is enough said.
Yep.
23% said they lurk and they don't chat, which again, enough said. And then 13% said follow so I can chat, which I'm going to take them at face value. But a big part of me, which I'm going to try and ignore, feels like that is a lot of small streamers who use follower only chat who are saying that they would follow just so they can chat because it makes them feel better to make that little number look a little higher.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try and take it at face value, but my jaded skepticism, LJ, says this is a lot of people who use it who want it to be on, right?
Without a doubt.
And look, you know, there's something to say. It's like, sure, you could follow just to chat, and then you could start chatting, and if you don't like it, you could just unfollow. There's something to say about that. But I think the fact you should, I don't know, I like for the people who have follower only mode for the wrong reasons, not for protection, but because they're trying to bait viewers into following, like. No, those people who are doing that for those reasons, that behavior shouldn't be rewarded. Like you shouldn't have follow only mode if you're purely if your reason behind it is to try and just make that number go up, because
well, you're
very
yourself,
quick,
right? Like it's like you can do whatever you want on your stream. But if your actual goal is to increase followers, then you're hurting yourself by having it on, which is proven here by the sense that, especially if you do want unique chatters more than follows as well, as these polls say, literally 87% of people say they will not chat, right? Like, because it's obviously that says lurk and chat or leave, which means no chatting, right? So it's like, fuck, dude, I don't know.
The most important thing is that chat interaction, wouldn't you say, when you go into a new stream? You don't want to be like one person in a huge auditorium, and you cough and it echoes around, that type of thing. You want to be a part of like an actual community that you can talk to and go, this is funny, let's joke around. Maybe I'm wrong. No,
but I think you are spot on. And I think it's like one of those things, right? It's like, you can do whatever you want in stream. I'm not going to gatekeep it and say you have to stream my way and say you have to stream our way. Yeah. Like if you want to do, if you want to turn it on because you think it's going to get you more followers, stuff like that, you fucking do you. But for best practices, it's pretty much been proven that you're doing the opposite, right? People can do whatever they want on their stream, but we're going to tell you what we believe is best practice and what we believe
This is a good topic as well in terms of, I think there's certain flags when I go into a streamer's channel about what turns me off them outside of, the content. Let's just say the content's not there. One is obviously follower only mode. Like I can understand if you're a big time streamer, protection, get that completely, but let's just say that that's not part of it. Another one is that you have one panel and it says donate. Another one
that's a good one. Yeah, I call those billies. I call Billy. That's a Billy.
That's a Billy. A Billy? Got
If they've only got a donation panel and nothing else, I call them Billy. I have a whole video about how to set up your panels and how to customize your Twitch channel. And the entire time I'm like, Billy, stop it. And like just calling the person. I just keep calling the viewer Billy. And I get all these comments from people being like, my name is legitimately Billy, and this scared me.
Please stop.
And then you go, show me your panel section. I've got
a sidestep from that. What if they have a few panels, but then the first panel is the donate panel? Like that's the first thing that you see.
I don't mind that as much.
I'm thrown into it.
Yeah, I don't mind it as much. Like I wouldn't say it's a good thing to put as your first panel. But if it's literally just the donate panel, I'm like, well, obviously we know what you're doing. Yeah. Another one that I have is if the screen is laden with many various sponsorships, like affiliate things, like, I'm a part of this energy drink. Here's my sub goal. Here's my follower goal. Here's my donation. Right, here's my big goal. It's all like, it's just plastered in like, on the outer rims, there's just nothing. There's only like a little circle in the middle that you can watch. I can't stand that. I can't stand too many overlays. That's just me though.
Yeah, I prefer it to be really minimal as well, personally. But this is really interesting, right? So if a streamer you like, so say you like a streamer, has a donation goal or a sub goal on their stream overlay. Let's assume that it's small enough that it's not going to be aggressively, intense. Do you feel like you are more likely to subscribe or donate to help with said goal?
Yep, definitely. I just want to make sure that people understand. I'm not saying that sub goals, follower goals are not bad, but if you have a sub goal, a follower goal, a bit goal, Follow my Raid Shadow
And
Legends
they're really big
goal.
rather than small.
Yeah, like it just takes up the whole thing. Like there's so many things going on. If it's just the one thing, fine. But if there's multiple, I'm like, I don't even know where to focus. I don't even know what you want, you know? But yeah, no, I think it's completely fine. If they do have a goal up there, I think it's more achievable because people know what they're going for and why they're going for it. I also like if they do have a goal, the reason for the goal. So you know how like Bajo does things of like, this is my rent. This is my electricity bill. You know what I mean?
To be fair, here's a joke goals as well.
Yeah.
I think this is something else. This is a red flag of mine.
Yep.
So Bajo writes the word rent as a joke. And if you know Bajo, you know it's a joke.
Yes.
Like it's kind of half and half, you know what I mean? Whatever. But at the same time, the really rough part is there are actually a lot of creators out there who will literally just put on screen every week rent $400, right? And that is not a joke whatsoever. They're like literally saying, if you want me to survive, you need to give me the money right now.
Yeah.
You know? And that personally for me is a small red flag, is because then I'm like, I'm sat in that stream and I feel bad the entire time because I'm staring at the screen going, holy shit, if I don't pay, if I don't support, then I'm a shit person watching them because they can't afford rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I will never watch a stream unless I know it is a hard joke. And like, I know that Bajo's rent and stuff like that are him joking around because he's got sponsors and all sorts of stuff. When I join a stream and it literally just says the word rent and it's like what it is there, I'm like, you guys do whatever you want, but I can't watch this because I feel bad because like I'm not in like a super steady place, right? As like as a person, you know, I got a family, got all that stuff. So it's like I can't always support people. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I mainly just give a prime where I can, and if I see a small streamer working really hard, I try and support them by giving them like 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's very rare that I'll like give a sub to like anyone 100 plus because I'm just not in a very steady place, and also I just can't.
No,
you know?
and so many people are in the same boat, and like I think if anyone were to blame you or anyone else in like from that same perspective, I think that's just shitty. It's like some people just it's like okay, they have the want, but if they can't, they can't. Like it's you know, you
If
can't
you have
really
the
blame
income,
someone.
for sure, I can understand. Because, you know, sometimes we talk about feeling guilty when people gift things and you're like, I can understand though that they also may have the money. But yeah, there are so many people that don't. And you may feel slighted by the fact that, this really person who always comes to my stream isn't subbed. But the fact that they're coming into your stream and chatting and putting up with the ads that you have and everything like that shows that they are truly there for you. Because I think that's a big thing that small streamers may feel, is that if you're not subbed to them, then are you really supporting them, you know, on that level? Are you really like because I gave you a VIP badge, I gave you mod, you know, and you're not subbed to me? They may feel like this kind of betrayal or like, am I not good enough? But when you break it down, it's like, it's a subscription service that in itself isn't cheap. Like you talk about America, it's like $5 there, but for us, it's like $8 for a month subscription to somebody, which is crazy.
That is
you know what I mean? That's
huge.
like half a Netflix thing. It's like, what? Yeah.
Like it's a lot of money, especially when you're getting told, like when you have to like do it to multiple people, right? Like I was in Ravz, who's a part of the Yogscast stream the other day. Yeah. And another Yog got gifted a sub. They weren't there. It was like a sub bomb. Like someone gifted like 15 and another Yog got it. And someone wrote in chat, tisk, 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 ex-Yogscast member isn't subbed to Ravz already. And Ravz was like, hey, don't say that.
Yeah.
You do not understand how expensive it is. Imagine if I had to sub to every single Yogscast member. That is a huge amount of money. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel that, dude, because I have a lot of streamers who I watch. And one of the big reasons I lurk is because I'm like, I don't want to show that I don't sub to them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm
the same. Yeah.
You know, and I've been watching a lot more new streamers lately. Yeah. For like inspiration, and also because my internet's been dead. So some nights where I haven't been streaming, I've been instead doing stream research while I fingers crossed and stuff. And one of the things that I've seen a lot recently is ads.
No.
And I've pretty much come to the conclusion that if I get into a stream and see the streamer's face, I'll sit through pre-rolls. Like I will. Like I'll usually sit through pre-rolls if the content is going to appeal to me. Like, and I think we've always known this, but it's something I've been looking at a lot more lately because I want to understand with the dip in the platform whether or not people are more or less likely to sit through ads. And one of the things I've realized is pretty much if I click on a stream and I have 2 ads, 2 pre-rolls, which is usually 2 pre-rolls, I will click another one. Like in the latest video on Stream Scheme, there's literally me talking about how your entire job as a streamer is to get people into your stream and hold them. And if you can't hold them, you'll click away. And it's literally a recording of me browsing through Twitch. And I didn't do this on purpose. This was me literally trying to find a stream to record at the time. But I ended up using the like pre-footage when I was like going through Twitch, because I clicked on 4 or 5 different streams and every single one of them gave me the same pre-roll ad. And I was like, fuck, I do not want to see this. Until I finally clicked on Julian Solomita, and I didn't get a pre-roll.
Yeah.
And I recorded him for 5 minutes, and then he rolled mid-rolls, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm still going to sit here and watch anyway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, I guess that's a recording situation, but at the same time, that's literally how I browse Twitch nowadays.
Yep.
And obviously every content creator is different about how it works for them. You know, I've heard Pearlescent, who is a fantastic Hermitcraft Minecraft streamer, for example, says that they would never do more than 60 seconds every hour, because that's far too many, or it'll turn people off. And then other creators, you know, do 90 seconds every hour. And then other creators, you know, don't run any on automatic. You know, I've switched to going entirely manual during Minecraft because I've noticed that I have less people coming in. And if I have less people coming in, I don't want them seeing ads all the time. I'd rather have the people who do come in hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it depends on the person, but yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting. On the topic you guys said though, you said yeah, you probably would be more likely to help if it was a good, like, you know, if the sub goal made sense and it was there and stuff. We asked this, 8,600 people replied.
That is a stat.
69 percent of people said they are not more likely. And I think they're wrong. I think they are subconsciously are more likely, but they feel like they want to be like, nah.
Yep.
Because I know that if I see a sub goal, I know that I am more likely if the sub goal is actually like interesting. And you know, like for example, like if I'm in your stream, Reapz, and it's like eat a chip, or you came to my stream with the hot sauce and you were like, I'm involved in this, you know?
Yeah.
Or like any of that stuff. I think it's pretty much, they're proven to work. Like I've got nights on Minecraft where I've had the sub goal up and I've gotten like 15. And then nights without the sub goal, I've gotten 5. Obviously, there are other times on both, but I definitely think it definitely helps.
I think so.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sorry, Nick, go ahead. Yeah.
I was to say, like for me, I've always ensured that like if there's, you know, if there is a goal, that there's something that they get afterwards. And like for me, I've got like, you know, the sub wheel. So it's like every 10 we spin the wheel, and I've added on to that where it's like, you know, you know, if it's just a really good night and we start getting a lot, right? So then as we go up the next, like there's it's like, oh, if we get 20, well, we do a wheel spin and we're going to give away an extra game on top of that. So there's like more little stuff that we can do. And you know, I've got like, you know, eat a spoonful of Vegemite as well, and that kind of thing. So there's always like a reason to hit that goal. And a lot of the time, you know, the view, you know, if we just naturally get some resubs and subs throughout the night, you know, there'll be 3, you know, be 7 out of 10, and someone will give 3 just because they want to get the wheel spin and they want to see, they want to see what's gonna, you know, what will happen. So, and I feel like that works really well. The one thing that I've sort of, I guess I've been sort of trying to tackle is, so I found this Stream Elements goal, like this Stream Elements widget, right?
Okay.
It's this thing that automates. So it says like sub goal 1 of however many, and you can do it up to 10. And gotcha. And so I created 10 different tiers. So it's like, if we do get a good night, it's like, here's all these cool stuff that can happen, and it automatically updates. So it's like, gets to 10, resets. It says sub goal 2 of 10, and then it will say the new updated reward, right? I had my friend Liam help me like recode it in Stream Elements. It was a headache, but we got there. It's like, turned out really good though. And yeah, it's been fun. But I guess I'm curious, and we'll ask LJ about it when he gets back. But do you think that would be a turn off, seeing sub goal 1 of 10?
Sub goal 1 of 10. I don't. That's a really good question. LJ, the question was asked of...
I heard, yeah. So good. I heard.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. To me, it would be... I don't think so. I think knowing that there's something after a sub goal... but here's the thing. I'm not sure if this is right, but not knowing what the sub goal is after hitting that sub goal is like a nice thing. It's like, what's the next mystery thing that I've got to do if we reach this? Maybe a nice thing. But then some people just want to be told outright. And if there's like something really tantalizing on there, then I can understand being like, well, I'll have you know that this is next, and I know you want me to do this. But I don't think it would. I think the tier list is an interesting way of doing it. I'll be interested to see what you find is the case. But I know that when people do charity streams, there's always that thing of like, they set a modest goal and they know they're going to hit that modest goal. And then they like try and think of something on the spot to hit the next goal. And I think that that's a nice way of doing it as well, rather than just like, I know that we can get 10,000, but we're going to start off with 1,000. And this is, a reward within the stream rather than at the very end. So yeah, I think
that
it's
is also
interesting.
proven. Like it's proven that works better in terms of actually gaining like subs and stuff like that. Like if you have a goal that one person can easily impact, then it will always go better, right? Like we've done whole breakdowns where we've looked at charity streams and gone, okay, which ones perform best? Like we looked at the Yogscast Jingle Jam and we looked at like every single night that they earned the most money. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like how much money they earned each night from sales and donations. And obviously the first few nights, massive. Okay. And then the last few nights, massive because the initiatives are going away. So people have to get in while it's there. They get in when it starts and stuff like that. So if you take those and you get rid of them and you look at the middles and stuff like that, it's like, what are the big nights? And the big nights didn't necessarily correlate with the most viewership. In fact, one of the biggest nights for the Yogs Jingle Jam a few years back was when one of the creators did called the $1 drive. And all night they said, if every single person in stream just gives $1, we reach our goal tenfold. If every single person here just gives $1. And of course, people are like, yeah, I can give $1, right? And so they give $1. And then there are people who are like, I can give more than $1. I can give like $5, and they give $5. You know what I mean? So it makes up for the people who can't give $1. And it's like this incredibly powerful way of boosting revenue gained. And it works the same way with subs, right? If you set a sub goal and the sub goal is like 3, like you can one person can physically make a big difference on that. That's a 33% difference, right? And then 3, you go, okay, so we reached 3. I'm gonna set the next one of 5. Yeah, you can instantly do it, right? Like you can make, and that's why when I do my Pain Week streams, so I did Pain Week, and then I had a new one called Pain Fridays or Frightful Fridays, where I did really brutally hard games like Getting Over It, Alt F4, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and stuff like that. Whenever I set those, I set it and I say, every single sub turns off my control for 10 seconds, or makes me use my left hand, or does these things. And then when we reach 5, I do a shot of Vegemite. If we reach 25, I'll put the funny outfit on. 50, this thing. And like it scales up and up and up and up and up, right? But because every single person, when they know, if I give X, I will have a direct impact right now. I'm not one person amongst 20 people who need to help. Yeah. I can make an impact. So it works much better. I think on my first Elden Ring night, with that ruling put in place, I got like 100 subs.
Crazy.
Right? Yeah. And I only averaged on that night like 120 to 130 viewers, I think.
Yeah.
So I almost had more subs given than I did average viewers for the night. You know what I mean? And that came down to the fact that my community are absolutely wild and I really appreciate them. But also because every single person felt like they were making an impact. Yeah. They could go, if I give one right now, this dragon's going to kill him while he has to stand there for 10 seconds with his controller unplugged. You know what I mean? And then it's at 5, it's like, do the Vegemite. Or if it's at 4, it's like, oh, I can give one right now and I'll go from 4 to 5 and he'll have to have Vegemite.
Yeah.
Or, dude, we're at 20 out of 25 now. Not only if I give 5 right now, he not only has to do Vegemite, his controller turns off for 50 seconds, and at 25, he's putting the maid outfit on. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like there are so many little individual benefits that every individual person can actually take advantage of. And it is one of the most powerful revenue generating techniques. And it is also why I very rarely actually do it, because otherwise you're kind of like sucking your audience dry. Yes. And it's like
exactly right.
Yeah.
There's also the exploitative take on it as well, which is another flag. And we talked about those warning signs you see when you enter a new stream. One of them is the sub goal, and then the next sub goal is 1 sub away, and then when the person gives their sub, it goes up by 1. So it's continuously out of reach, which to me, I know is like, I'm just memeing, guys. I'm just doing it 1 out of reach. But you can tell why they're doing it.
Yeah, they're the dodgy ones,
The dodgy, and you're like, it boils my blood. That's all I'm saying.
No, 100%. You know what is a massive red flag for me? Is streamers who are far too emotionally engaged with their chatters. You know what I mean? I was talking to my wife about this as well recently, and she said that whenever she joins a stream, this is off topic. These are 2 different topics. First topic, let's go, well, then I'll talk about the wife one. First topic is essentially if I'm in a stream and someone subscribes or follows and the streamer tells the person they love them or a like really gushy appreciation, then I personally am a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to be a part of this because I feel like it's manipulative. You know what I mean? And that's like a big red flag for me is how emotionally reinforcing, I guess, or supplementary, like, you know, because I say this to my chat all the time. I'll be like, guys, there are too many of you now. When I had 20 of you, yeah, I could know you people. I knew who you were. But I don't fucking know half you people anymore. Like, I have to ask one of them, Tyrannid, I have to ask them where they're from every time, like once a week. I'm like, you're Australia, right? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, and I'm like, I'm very honest about it. I'm like, I like playing games with you guys and community nights. I like doing this stuff. But you know me. I don't know you, right? And if you give me one sub, I appreciate it. But you know what? I don't love you, you know? And like, I know Parasocial hasn't come up on the podcast in a while because I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest. But like that's, if we're talking red flags, that is a massive one for me. And I'm going to say it. I think a lot of the gushy emotional streamers, often they are streamers who not all of them, but their entire income comes from streaming.
Oh, for sure.
And that makes me even more red flaggy about it. Again, you stream however you want, right? Not gatekeeping. But for me personally, if I'm in a stream and your entire income hedges on your stream and you're telling people you love them when they sub or stuff like that, or kisses or telling them they're cute and things like that. Yeah. Personally, that feels weird. That feels weird to me, you know?
Is it like a voyeur thing? Like you're looking in and like, oh, I shouldn't be seeing this.
It's just like we've already proven that people come to Twitch for interaction, right? Yeah. And because of the platform, we also know for a fact there's a lot of people out there who are coming to it because they are socially isolated. Look at the pandemic. That's the reason why it blew up. Yeah. And if someone is socially isolated, looking for a connection, and you are telling them that you love them and you appreciate them and that you're cute and the kisses and stuff like that, well, then you're kind of being manipulative for the sense of money, right? Like, it's like you get to live your dream job. This person who feels socially isolated because they were just trapped inside for 2.5 years is giving you money so that they feel good as well. And it's not all the cases, but people will understand what I'm trying to talk about here and what I'm trying to put forward. And it's like,
how do you feel about the like emotional aspect that some streamers do? Like, I know that sometimes sub drives is like, or you see like a big spike is when somebody gives a story that's kind of like, this is what's happening to me in my real life. And then somebody gives subs and they're like, oh my God, they're so appreciative. And, you know, there's sometimes tears to an extent. But it all dwelled on the fact of this is what's happening to me behind the scenes, but I'm putting on a brave face for you guys. And I'm going to tell you, you know, here's the real me and here's me in camera form. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. I think at times it can be manipulative. And I think at other times it is just maybe someone's had a really bad time. Yeah. But if they do it regularly
is what I'm talking about.
That's yes, definitely.
Like I'm talking like it's every single sub. Every single donation, it's every single one is like, it's on the topic of analytics. If you know, it's like they're doing it because they've seen it increases the subs they gain. Yeah. Right. Like definitely. They know it works. Right. And we all know it works because that's why it happens. And I think that's one of the big reasons I'm really not a huge fan of it for me personally. It's not the kind of content I want, but also I guess, you know, I've not necessarily been socially isolated, but if I was, I would hate it. I also think I would hate it. I would hate to be sucked into that. I don't know, man. I feel weird about it to me, honestly.
I mean, it's obviously, it's like, you know, we're all people that like when their sub does come in or a gift bomb, it's like we engage, we obviously thank. But yeah, like if you stay on it too much, like, I mean, obviously if you get just dropped 100 subs out of random, you just kind of like, whoa, what the heck just happened there?
The fuck?
But yeah, like, you know, you kind of react to kind of like the sort of amount that's kind of happening. But yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's like if they're going, you know, crazy and above and beyond and going super like emotional, like over just one sub, it's like, what are you trying to do here? Like, what is it?
You're trying to open the floodgates for other people because they'll get that reaction as well.
Exactly.
If they sub to you.
Exactly. That's what it's like. Yeah, they're trying to sort of give them that kind of attention. So like someone else might be like, oh, wow, like that person, you know, they were really appreciative. They said all those nice things. I want to have those things said about me, and they'll do the same thing as well.
How do you feel about hype trains? Because we know that hype trains were instituted by Twitch, and they put like a big thing, you can get exclusive emotes and rewards. But do you feel like the hype train, some people, you can set how, like the levels of hype train that you can do, how fast you can get to level 5, how often a hype train happens. Do you feel that people utilize the hype train for that kind of benefit as well? Of like, come on guys, because I know that I've gone to some streams, and it is one of those streams where it's just like, people throw subs at this person. They're like, come on guys, we're nearly at level 5. Let's get it going. Let's get all the way to 200, 300% on level 5. And as soon as I see that crap, I'm like, oh, there's just this thing inside of me. Like, there's not real content here apart from somebody shouting out that they want more subs so that, you know, we did it all as a team. We showed that hype train what it really was, you know, when it's them getting all the income. Like,
yeah. I think the hardest thing from a stream perspective is how to give more value to people that are contributing to the hype train.
Yes.
That's always been the biggest thing for me. It's like, what can I do from like, not to say I'm ingenuine and try and be like, haha, come on, give me more subs, we can do the hype train. It's more so just like, if a hype train starts, like make that special, make that like an event. Yeah. And and I still haven't quite figured that out yet, you know, but I'm curious to see what have you guys thought about, and like with hype trains and how you sort of tackle them. Like,
so Reapz's hype trains are really interesting because they're actually engaging content, like people who give subs and bits and stuff like that. So essentially Reapz goes he goes into a Subway. Like he literally goes into like not a Subway. He goes into a fast food restaurant and he puts on a little headset. And he when people buy subs, literal subs fall down from the sky into bags, and he's like on a little thing like, can I get a burger and fries? Blah, blah, blah. It's really entertaining, right? Me, I just tell people thank you for the sub, thank you for the hype train. And then the only thing I do is if we're at 69%, I'll go, hey, 69%, nice.
Yeah.
And then the only thing about, I don't care. Hype trains are just something that exists. And if people, sometimes I'll be like, I know you guys sometimes like emotes. We are at a level 5. If you want the emote, now is the best time to get it. I think it costs a minimum of 100 bits and you get the emote. Like, I'll just say that because some of my community really like the little cute animal hype emotes right now.
Yeah.
But I'll never like push people to be like, we're so close, guys. Go for it. Get it.
That's
One thing I hate about hype trains isn't anything the streamer has control over, actually. Because if you don't get to level 1, so you can get a hype train with 3 things of 100 bits, right?
Yep.
And you'll be sitting at like 43% of level 1. And you need to get to level 1, so 100% of that, in order for you to successfully complete a level of hype train.
Yep.
So if you don't get there, they'll say, oh, you missed the train. Better luck next time. And I'm like, listen here, you little fucking shit.
Yeah.
All right. I
Twitch.
didn't miss anything. Okay. I could have yelled at my chat to try and donate. I don't want them to donate. I make my money off ad revenue on YouTube because it has a sustainable fucking model. All right. I'm not going to sit here and try scam my audience into donating to some shitty train and then feel bad when you say that I missed it. I didn't miss shit. All right. My audience can't afford it. Don't make them try and spend it. Like, I get so angry at the idea of fucking, oh, you missed it. Better luck next time. And I've brought this up so many times.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously you can't change that. But I've brought this up so many times to so many people being like, can we just change the fucking language for the love of God?
Yeah.
Please let me change the language. So it's like, it doesn't say that, because the amount of creators who I've spoken to are like, I hate hype trains. They're like, I'm scared of hype trains because I don't want to get a hype train and then to feel bad about the fact that people aren't donating.
Yeah. Oh, but that's the thing. Yeah. I know that when I get a hype train, it doesn't reach level 1 because I don't even look at it. Like, I wish I could turn the feature off of it being at the top of the chat. You know what I mean? You know when it like springs down is like, I just don't want that feature. But anyway, I understand it's there for a reason. But to me, it doesn't affect me as much because it's kind of like, yeah, oh, well, whatever. But it's the fact that they draw attention to it. You know, it's like, oh, like in video games, you know, it's like, oh man, you died. And then it just like holds on the 20-second screen of you dead, you know, like on black and white. And then finally the retry button springs up and it's like, I know I died. Let me go again. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the same with scam trains where it's like, oh, you missed out because you don't have a great community like they're saying you do. And you're like,
right?
I know it's this bot thing, but it's still like, don't make people feel bad about not spending money on my channel. Just go, if the hype train wasn't reached to level 1, just fade it away. And that's it. You don't even bring up the fact that we missed the hype train or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like
it does bug me as well.
Like, oh, you're not going to squeeze your viewers? Let us do it for you. Don't worry, we got it. I say
So
like I agree, LJ. Like Reapz, you have an amazing hype train screen, but someone else who does is Jordan Rasco.
Jordan. Amazing.
Jordan.
I can't touch it. It's so good. The amount of work she did, like in stream. I didn't even know that's possible in Stream Elements. I don't even know how it's running because there's so many things going on. I'll let you describe it, Nick, but there's so many things going on. I don't know how the browser just crashes OBS. Sorry.
There's so much coding involved. Yeah, so Jordan basically, when a hype train starts, she switches over to a scene where, for those that have played Street Fighter back in the day, there was the old little, the kind of the car, and you would fight to try and beat up the car. Yeah. She puts herself inside the car, and she has all sorts of like random stuff that pops up to like destroy the car. It's like 5 gifted subs will be a certain character that pops out, or 500 bits is something different. So like everything is tied to a certain thing. And then I've got the specifics, but at some point the car gets repaired, like Fix It Felix comes out. It's an incredible thing, and people love getting involved because they want to see, what thing can I trigger on the screen if I give this
random
much?
bit number? Because honestly, I don't think there's a bit number out there where there's not like a specific character or animation for it. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and the entire time, Jordan doesn't encourage. She just says thank you. Mm-hmm. It's just happening. Like she's put the work in and the effort. So it's like, this is here for you guys if you want to, and if people do, she thanks them, and it just keeps going until it either they complete level 5 or it stops or whatever. And yeah, that's it. And which it's really fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Jordan Rasco, Rasko. It's phenomenal.
That one I'll remember to put in the comments in the description.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of them. Nothing's in the fucking description, man. I do the descriptions for the SEO and I don't link shit. All right. Look, no, I have people comment, "Oh, LJ, where's that thing in the description you said you're gonna put?" I ain't putting it. All right. I'm not doing it. I'm not hunting it down. I listen back to all of these podcasts and I'm like, oh yeah, I did say I'd do that, but I ain't.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Just Google it yourself, people. Come on, nah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk more analytics on the topic of emotional analytics. Are you nervous to go live and start streaming? Before you go live, do you feel like you are never nervous to hit go live? Do you feel like you're sometimes nervous to hit go live? Or do you feel like every time you're nervous to hit go live?
I would say a majority of people are always nervous, and then I'd say
you.
Me. I would go with sometimes nervous, definitely. More so in the majority of more times than not, I'm nervous to go live. But was this a link? Sorry, was this a poll that you did for your?
This is indeed a poll. This is 6,500 small streamers, or roughly.
I'm going to go with majority said always, then sometimes, then never.
Okay.
I'm not nervous. The only time I'm nervous if I haven't streamed for more than 3 or 4 days or more. Like that's the only time I'll get a bit nervous when I'm coming back after a longer than normal break. But most time I'm not nervous at all. But I honestly would not even know how to guess for this question with this poll. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you nervous to go live and start streaming? 6,450 people polled. 23% said never. 39% said sometimes, and 37% said yes every time.
Sometimes. Took it by 2%. Was that right?
Yeah. So sometimes is 39%, which is in the lead, and then every time is 37%, which means we can easily assume that more than 50% of people are nervous to go live when they stream more often than not.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty fair. I think as a streamer, something that never goes away is the worry that you're going to hit go live and then no one is going to chat. You know what I mean? I think it'll never go away. It'll just be like, oh, am I going to hit go live tonight and just have to talk to myself, and just have no one here? And I think that's always a fear you're going to have to be aware of and deal with as a content creator.
Yep, definitely. There's no way around it. We've all dealt with it for some time. I know I did it for over a year. I had maybe about 10 average viewers, 20 average viewers by the end of the first year of streaming. And there were those nights where people just didn't want to talk, or they were just lurking, whatever reason. And you just got to narrate what you're doing right then and try and engage people who are hopefully coming to your stream that you don't know about, that they will talk, if that's what you want them to do. But I had a thing of the other night, I streamed outside of my time. I played Evil Dead with Walkman, Jackson Games, Learning Shark Melb and Trash Tory. And it was a thing of like, it's not my usual time. It's a Friday night in Australia. People are out. And then in America, it's 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's kind of like, I was like starting afresh and, you know, the chat was not popping off at all. So it was literally, I felt like I was back in the days of like, I got to narrate this. And it felt, I was like, it felt good. It felt good. It's like, okay, I got to work for this. And it was a really nice experience. And I really enjoyed my time playing the game as well. So it was good. I was so nervous beforehand because it is outside the usual hours that I stream. And you always got that thing in the back of your mind of like, what happens if nothing happens? And I dealt with it at some times and it was good. It's like, oh yeah, I can just continue playing and enjoy myself. And that's what I did. So yeah, I can understand people going, I'm getting nervous. I still do. But at the end of the day, do you really have to be nervous? No. And I got to remind myself about that.
Yeah. I'm glad you had a good night last night as well.
Yeah, it was good fun. The game is amazing. We got to play this game. Get this game. It is so good. It is so much fun.
Okay.
It is such a good part. It is amazing. It's so smooth. Anyway, moving on. Yeah.
What? No, never mind. I was gonna be like, what game? But I don't care. No, I'm teasing.
It's
You've got me
Dead.
on Saturday. You've got me on Saturday morning. This is the thing, right?
Yeah.
You've got me on Saturday morning, which means I'm a very different human being to how I normally am.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of like, this feels like I'm supposed to just be hanging out, talking to people. This isn't like presenter LJ or entertainer or host LJ. This is literally just me just being. I don't know
like a
about
villain.
chilling. I mean, I feel like I'm just like vibing.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question.
Okay.
If I asked 6,000 people, do you prefer? Sorry, are you currently using a camera or not using a camera? How many people do you think are and aren't using cams? Which one's using? Who do you think is using it more?
I'm gonna say 75% of people are using cameras. Was that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say three quarters.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I think it's gonna be around 85, 90%. I think webcam, like using cams.
Okay. You're both a little high.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah.
All right.
Out of 6,000 people polled, 65% of them said that they absolutely use a cam. 35% said nope, no way they don't. Which I thought was interesting to hear that 35% of people said they wouldn't use a cam. Or they don't use a cam. Okay, follow up for you though. 7,600 people polled.
Sheesh.
What do you prefer when watching a stream? Do you prefer a face cam or no face cam? And then I add, VTubers, PNGs, and characters count as face cam for this poll.
Oh. Whew.
Okay. I was about to say for the previous question, I was like, you know, people that say no cam, are they answering that they use a VTuber model or instead of an actual, you know, their face? For this, I mean, I like to go into a stream that someone is having some form of on-screen presence. I feel like that is in a live format where you're going in to engage with not only the chat but hopefully the streamer as well. I think some sort of on-screen presence, is really beneficial, right? Not saying you have to stream with a cam or any type of thing if you don't want to, but I think it's definitely beneficial, and I think for a lot of people can help people sort of connect and engage a bit more. I'd say that if the previous one was 65 and 35, I'd say this one's probably about 75, 80.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty high. I'd go around Nick's level and say about 80%.
I want to before I reveal this, I'll keep you on baited hook. It's called looping.
Okay.
I want to talk about something else quickly. Nick, you just said like I'm not going to tell you how to do it, right? And this is something that I've been dealing with a lot lately. Is because I've been saying things lately to people who are like, "Oh, why aren't I growing?" And I'll be like, "Well, maybe turn a cam on, right?" Or the other day, I told someone to do the 10-minute recording tip. You know what I mean? And someone said, "I was with you in this video all the way up until the 10-minute recording tip." No, that is the worst thing someone can do to build confidence. If they lack confidence, they shouldn't have to look at themselves. You're an idiot, and like started like calling me all sorts of horrible things and accusing me of being like essentially a transphobe, and they also said I was fat shaming and all sorts of stuff, right? And I was like, I was like reading it, just like thinking to myself, like, I'm not telling you have to do the thing, right? And this is another one of those things, right? With the cam stuff, someone wrote, I don't want to use a cam, stop trying to gatekeep how I stream. I'm like, you don't have to. I'm not telling you have to. I'm showing you that it's been proven that it will help you be more engaging, right? But people get very, very angry about the idea of cams being on these things and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm never saying to someone, you have to do it my way or the highway. I'm just saying, here are some stats. Here's what we've proven to make it better. You do whatever you want with that, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, this poll did have a lot of that in the comments.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people being like, I don't use a cam and I don't care if someone has a cam. And like being like, I refuse, I'm not going to do it, just because it doesn't change anything. But then I asked a lot of them back. I said, oh yeah, totally, do whatever you want. Can I ask who are your top 5 favorite streamers? And do they use cams or not cams? And almost every single one of them came back and said, oh, here are my top 5. And 4 out of the top 5 use cams. And I was like, and I didn't reply to any of those people because I was like, surely that should be enough for them to realize that like, I'm not telling them to do it I'm not telling them they have to do it a certain way, but even themselves saying, I voted no, a face cam doesn't bother me, right? But at the same time, they're specifically saying that out of their top 5, 4 of them use cams, and therefore that is showing an inherent bias that they do prefer cam-based content, right?
It's also that thing of like they themselves have a particular way that they don't want to use cams, so they think if anyone butts against that they're attacking them. When it really is, it's just more a fact, no, this is what the majority likes. And that's fine if you don't like it, but the majority likes this. It's not against you. Yeah.
This was another conversation recently. I did another poll, and I will get to the answers on this one, I promise. We did another poll that was, do you currently run a Discord? And I had this guy come back and be like, no, Discord is shit. I use Gilded because Gilded has all the same features, but I don't have to pay for it, and you have to pay for Discord. And I wrote back saying, I've never heard of Gilded. And I've never had to pay for Discord to make it work. I only bought Nitro recently because I just it came free with my Game Pass actually. And I was like, what are you buying on Discord? And I don't know what Gilded is. And he writes back all this stuff about how Gilded's better and stuff like that. And I said, I feel like I'd be capping myself at my knees if I tried to make a community on Gilded when the large majority of the market share are already on Discord. And he goes, and I said, it's kind of like saying, I don't like YouTube, so I'm going to put all my content on Vimeo. That's not where my audience is. He goes, if you were a real influencer, you'd be influencing people on where they could go. And if they actually liked you, they'd be able to go to Gilded rather than Discord. And I wrote back saying, no, I don't think that's quite true. No. Again, if the audience isn't using it or doesn't want to have to make an account, they will not convert over no matter how much of an influencer you are, right? Like the audience is on Discord. So you should make a Discord, right? Yes. You don't have to, but otherwise you hold yourself back. Right? Yeah, right? It's like, the audience on TikTok isn't the audience I want. Dude, the audience on TikTok ranges from fucking 13 to 50, and they're male, women, they're into every single topic. It's like saying, I'm not going to post any content of mine to Reddit because that's not who my audience is. Oh, you like anime? Yeah, no, there's no one on Reddit who likes anime. Oh, you like hiking? There's definitely not a subreddit for hiking. Like, it's such an interesting look when you have these conversations and people write back, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this other thing because that's how I deem it. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but don't try and pretend like you're not holding yourself back.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah. Hit the nail on the head.
It's the same thing with like console streaming versus non-console streaming. I always get asked, hey, what do I do as a console streamer to try and grow? And I go, the exact same stuff that a PC streamer has to do, because your viewers do not care if you're on console, tablet, smartphone, or PC. All they care about is what's in that little frame and how good the content is. So if your content is worse because you're on console, that's just something you have to try and overcome. Like, there's no special tip for a console streamer. People want to be like, what's the special tip to make console streamers pop off? And I'm like, yeah, good content. The same tip as everything. You know what I mean? Like, there is no other way about it. And a lot of people will say things like, oh, I'm too nervous to use a cam. And this is going back to what we talked about. Too nervous to use a cam. I'm like, that's totally fine. You don't have to. There are ways you can become more comfortable if you do. Not everyone has to. But don't try and pretend like it won't hold you back.
Yes.
Like, that's just a hard truth of it. And it's really, really interesting seeing some of the mindsets that come out from having these discussions with creators on these polls.
Yeah.
But do you want to know the percentage breakdown of people who prefer or don't prefer cams?
Yes. And then I'll quickly talk about something after that. Yes.
28% of people said they don't mind or they don't want a face cam.
Okay.
72% of people said face cam streams be better.
Yeah.
So nearly
is
three
no,
quarters.
it's no surprise because you want to be able to see a content creator's face.
Yes.
It is very rare that I don't want to see a content creator's face.
You want an emotive response to what's going on. And you can't do that without a camera or a VTuber or anything like that, because they literally have, if you've ever done VTubing, which I did for one stream, it was very interesting to watch all the tutorials. I'm a professional. Listen, guys, if you want to sign up to my OnlyFans account of my VTuber, it was very interesting because you actually have hotkeys in terms of you can control their expressions. So you can go happy, sad, angry. You know what I mean? And then when you talk, it's in that emotive state. And it just goes to show you that people do want to see those emotions. And people will always go to Moon as somebody who like just rocketed to the moon in terms of Twitch. And he didn't have a webcam on his face. But you look at his streams today, you bet your ass he's got a webcam. And you bet your ass he's getting more people watching him. Some may say because of it, some may say not. But I would say that he knows the relevance of having a webcam with what he gives off. But it is interesting to note that the people, 28%, did you say they don't mind?
They either don't mind or they don't want one.
Don't mind or don't. Okay, so so you can kind of also put like maybe half and half in there as well in terms of they didn't know where to go with it. Okay, cool.
Can I add something to Moon though?
Sure.
Moon's been making content since Justin TV. You can't we can't look at that. It's like saying lyric. Or it's like saying soda poppin', you know? It's like,
sure. Yeah.
It's like we can't look at content creators from fucking 2016 and earlier when it was called Justin TV, before it even became Twitch and everything like that, and be like, yeah, look, they didn't use a cam to grow, because it was so fucking easy to grow as a streamer 6-7 years ago. Like, it was like literally, if you went live and just like put in a modicum of effort with a decent looking cam, like if us three were making content, the content we're making now, but if we were making this 6 years ago, we would be fucking huge.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like we would be massive. It is, and everyone would be. Anyone who would go live could be so much massive. But now it is so much more saturated.
Yep.
Like legitimately, like if you tried to go live tomorrow and make the content Moon made 8 years ago, you'd be fucked. You'd be laughed out of the platform.
And I think that's him also trying to get up with the standards of today in terms of the camera. And I know people can say, you know, lyric and stuff still doesn't use, and that's fine. But got to think of, you're completely right. I'm using an example of somebody who started at the infancy of the channel. And now in this day and age, when you've got this crazy production values all over the shop, and you've got people's faces, and you've got, you know, like those long streams where you can kind of go on a journey with them. I think it is a very good thing to have a face cam. Or just anything that makes somebody connect, because it's hard to connect to just a voice. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong
100%
there.
right.
Yeah.
Because like my mod Cheesemat is a really good example of this. He didn't want to put a face cam on to start with, and that's fine. And he was like, what do I do? And I said, just throw an image, anything, something that people can look at and stare at while you talk, and they can go, okay, this is who he is. And so what he did was he put a little quokka on screen, like one of the cute little photos of a quokka being like that, right, on screen for when he first started. And then he started adding things like add some cool, and people could redeem add some cool as a channel point. And it would like, he'd be like, okay, you're going to add some cool. And you press a button and little sunglasses would appear on the quokka, right? And stuff like that. And like, I remember thinking like, okay, we can help with this. So like I photoshopped all of Sigrund, who's the guy from Dark Souls, big onion boy. He looks like a big fat onion. I photoshopped all of his armor pieces to be individual pieces and gave it to him to put on the quokka. So like you could be like, let's slay some stuff in Dark Souls, and he'd press a few buttons and like his little quokka would be all armored up, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, it worked because there was something to connect with. And then like he'd change the background. Like today the quokka's in a field. And then it's like, oh, today guys, during the hot tub meta, the quokka is in the hot tub. You know what I mean? And like he was doing all this stuff, and it was such a good way of having a reason to be engaged that wasn't just the footage. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the game and then having to have his voice. Because the thing is, if there's the moment you go quiet when it's just the game, you notice way more, right? Like, whereas for me, like, so Cheese was saying to me that he was struggling as well because like he would do a lot of like facial expressions, but he wouldn't have a cam on. So it would just be, then he'd watch his VOD back and be like, yeah, it was just dead silence, but I was doing a funny facial expression because that's just what I would do with my mates. And I was like, yeah, 100%. Like when I'm live, like a lot of my comedy is like thing happens and I go,
yeah.
Like, you know, I look over and
exactly.
audio listeners just then are like, nothing happened. And that's exactly fucking right.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can't see someone's face, you lose like all of the reaction. And
Can you point on your clothes though, LJ? We've got to continue on this VOD. That'd be great. So if we...
What did you say?
That took me a second as well. I was like, wait, where is he
Can
going?
you put on your clothes again? So the audio listeners will be like, I got to see LJ without his clothes on the podcast right now. That's what he was doing.
I refuse. I will never put my clothes on. All right. I always record stream scheme videos, and I always stream in like a full outfit, right? I always stream wearing jeans and all my clothes and stuff like that. But recently for the Stream Room podcast, I do not get out of my pajama pants. I'm going to be honest. This is my...
More power to you, bro.
Why would
More
you?
power to you.
Why would you? I'm in comfy
Business on top,
trackies
party
all
below.
the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
This is the Stream Room podcast is where I come to just hang out. I'll be honest at this point.
Yep. We could. I mean, the VOD listeners could definitely see that. But interesting enough, we're nearing the 2-hour mark, so I think we're going to save the Q&As for our next episode, which is the question and answers ep. It's going to be an episode all of Q&As. But what I will say is I've got analytics of our own, and I thought I'd do a little game with you. It's about the podcast audio edition. We know about the vodcast. We know about our own YouTube channel. But don't go into the analytics for our stream room. I'm just going to give you some questions, and we can go back and forth, maybe Family Feud styles, and see. So I've got the all-time date range up in terms of when we released our first podcast to where we are now, and it's listener behavior. So firstly, what I will ask is, what do you think most of our audio listeners listen to the podcast on? And I can give you, so obviously, you've got iTunes, you've got Amazon, you've got Spotify, you've got Apple Podcasts, web browsers, Stitcher, everything like that. How about we go for the top 5? So if you can name an audio platform, what do you think would be our number 1 to number 5?
You're asking like what app we think they're listening on?
Correct. So listeners use this app.
Has to be Spotify.
Number 1, Nick?
I actually think it might be Apple Music, just because just so many people own iPhones, and like Apple products are just very common. So I think Apple Music might actually be the top one.
Can I do my second and third guesses now?
Sure. Yeah.
So that Nick doesn't steal them. Okay? I think it goes Spotify. I think Spotify will be like 50% of the listeners. Okay.
Sure.
And then I think it'll be Apple Podcasts, because Apple Music, Nick, doesn't actually have podcasts on it. It's
Apple Podcasts. That's what I meant to say. Okay.
And I think it's a big drop. I think if it's anything like YouTube, it's a big drop. That's going to be like, if 50% of people listen on Spotify, it'll be like Apple Podcast will be like 25%, maybe 17%, 16, 15, 14, 13.
We're just doing a countdown now to a rocket ship.
Cover all bases.
But then I reckon a lot of people probably listen on, if it's anything like YouTube, it's like there's going to be something else, right? So YouTube, one of the issues we have, it says external. And that just means it's anything, right? And I reckon that anyone who listens from like an RSS feed or like from some random place, it's going to be put under like a thing of it. It'll say like web browser, or it'll say like Bing or Chrome or something, right? Okay. And so that's my top 3. I think it's Spotify, Apple Pod, and then like some like browser.
Okay. Nick, did you want to have any guesses?
Yeah, so I'm going to stay true. Apple Podcast the top 1, Spotify is second place, but I think third it's like either Google or Amazon, but I reckon it might go Amazon.
Does Amazon have podcasts?
It's got a thing called Amazon Music, which it falls under. Yeah,
I didn't even know it existed.
There you go. You go.
To me, I don't think a lot of people use like the Google Podcast thing. So I think Amazon is a bit more sort of like in your face about the fact that they support podcasts on their platform and stuff. So I think Amazon might be third place.
Okay. I will have you know that in first place, it's Pirate Bay. I'm joking. First place is...
I was like, what is this? What is this P one? I was like, all right, Pornhub.
Sorry. Yeah. So first place is Spotify.
Let's go!
36.5% of our listeners on it.
Okay.
Second place Yeah. Apple Podcasts with 19.7%.
Wait, no. Did I say that was second or third? What
You
did I
said
say
that was
that as?
second. You said that was
You
second.
said that was second. You said it was second. Yeah.
And in third place, it is Chrome with 12.
Wow,
You've got all three of the top three.
I don't
LJ.
think third one counts, because I think
Okay.
the third one doesn't count, because I think I said it was like a catch-all one.
Okay.
Because
But
that's what
still,
it says on YouTube.
Chrome,
I'd say that's close, but you know.
And then in fourth place is iTunes. I mean, iTunes is a thing.
I
thought they was defunct. I don't know. Amazon Music is fifth place, and then you've got people like products like Pocket Cast, Other, Overcast, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Podbean, Castbox, Alexa, Chromecast, all that kind of thing. Interesting. So, what do you think most people listen on? We'll make this very quickly. Obviously, you've got desktop apps, you've got browsers, you've got mobile apps, you've got smart homes.
It's 100% mobile.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
People are throwing it on. If they're on any other platform, they'll usually watch it on YouTube. But if they're listening to this on the go, it has to be mobile app. And then any desktop browser and stuff like that would be someone at work with it on in the background. So that's second.
You agree, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, though, like, I think because a lot of cars, I mean, if you use, a lot of people will listen to podcasts while they're driving, right? So I'm not like, and some people will connect their phone to their car, or they have like, you know, like a lot of the modern cars have like the smart display and stuff where it's just integrated. So I'm not if that still counts as mobile.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
It will. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then
So,
yeah, definitely.
At a lovely 69%. Nice. Mobile app.
Nice.
Yeah. Mobile app.
Hey.
And then desktop browser at 13%. Desktop app at 12%. Other at 3%.
Sorry, what was that
home.
one?
Desktop app.
And
Whatever
that's
that is.
different to browser. So I guess they must have like a software they've downloaded. So it's, you know what that
Spotify.
probably is?
Could be. Yeah.
It could be Spotify app. It could also be literally like any MacBook opening the podcast app,
Yeah.
because that classifies as an app. So
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting one. Operating system. What do you think a majority of the people who are listening to our podcast have? So we've got, Mac OS, Windows, Android, iOS. What do you think are the top two? It's too hard to get all of them. So just the top two. What do you think is number one and number two of the operating system that people listen to our audio podcast on?
So it's got to be mobile based on the previous data. So the safest bet would be to go iOS followed by Android, because you said that most of it was mobile app. Then we also figured out from the first one that it was Spotify, and which means it's not going to be one or the other. And then it was followed by Apple. So yeah, it'll be iOS followed by Android.
No
Nick,
disagreement.
agreed?
No disagreement. Yep.
That is correct. iOS is at nearly 40%. Android is at 22%.
It's the same
and then
analytics on YouTube, so that makes it easy.
Yeah,
for
we
me.
go. It's kind
Yeah,
of crazy when you think about it. And then it goes Windows, Other, Mac OS. Okay, so this I think is going to be the really interesting one. We'll finish off with, maybe we could do one more after this, but where do you think, I'm going to go top 5 for this. Where do you think a majority of our listeners live, country-wise?
Is this what is the actual analytic of this? Are they considered
Total
listeners?
downloads per country.
Right.
Yeah. So where do we think a majority of our listeners come from? And we can go for top 5. So what I think would be interesting is we can start off with one of you, go over to the other, and I'll let you know if they're in the top 5 or not.
I'm going to steal first answer.
Okay.
It's United
LJ.
States. United States has top downloads, 100%.
61%. It is in number 1 position.
Yeah.
Nick.
I mean, that's a good one. I'm gonna say the UK.
Number 2 with 12.5%. Back to you, LJ.
Okay. So we're all ANZ. It's English speaking. United States is probably quite heavily because of Reapz' audience, because of Stream Scheme shoutouts. UK is probably because of me and Nick's nighttime slots. Third answer, Australia.
Correct. 11.9%. Now we're getting down
Very
to the
close.
nitty gritty of 4 and 5. So you got the first 3 perfectly. You know our audience. See, this is important.
Yeah.
We know our audience. We know our niche.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, I'll let you know that 4th place has 3.6% and 5th place has 2.6% in terms of total downloads per country. So have a little think, and
I've got it. 4th place is phasing with a bunch of alt accounts in New Zealand. No, I think Canada
is number 4. That is crazy at 3.6%. Canada is number 4 for us. Now, LJ, to get the clean sweep, with my camera out of focus, to get the clean sweep right now, what do you think is numero 5? This is tough. If you get this, you are pulling out of thin air, my friend.
The problem is, right? I mean, I won't just sit here quietly. I'll talk through it like a good streamer.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm entering the Mind Palace. If I'm thinking about Stream Scheme and I'm thinking about the Stream Room podcast, right? United States being number 1, followed by the UK, followed by Australia, then back to Canada, makes me think that we've got to go somewhere European. Okay. Here's the thing: the biggest streaming hub in Europe that isn't the UK is, it's like either Austria or Germany, and that's why owned are over there as well. But they're not major English speaking, so I think that's bad for us, right? Surely it would be that, like, it's got to be like Ireland or Belgium or Poland or, like, you know, or France. No, France wouldn't listen to us. We suck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a swing and say, I know on Stream Room, and I also know from some comments. Sorry, on Stream Scheme, I know from some comments that we do get German listeners on there. And maybe that's the same here. Maybe we get German or Austrian. I'm going to go German because I know that they are the biggest streaming hub in Europe outside of the UK. Because
Germany is locked in?
On.
Okay. You got to see the anguish.
If it was Stream Scheme, it would be German.
Okay.
Yeah,
If it was Stream Scheme, it would be German.
Isn't this like the Spanish audience is massive though on Twitch as well, right?
Yeah, but not for us.
Not for us, but just.
But why would it not for us at all? Well, no one listens to us in Spanish.
No.
But look, I'm gonna go off Stream Scheme.
Okay.
If it was Stream Scheme, it would be German, but this might be polluted via our audiences from Twitch. So I will take my loss. I will concede. I'm sorry, Nicholas, you've won.
For the clean sweep, the answer is Germany. 2.6.
Let's go.
We know our audience. We know our audience.
Fantastic.
Well done.
Can you tell me
both
what number
winners.
6 is? What's number 6?
Ireland.
That
Ireland
makes
is
sense.
number
Another
6.
English.
Yeah,
Another English,
and then it goes Belgium, and then it goes New Zealand. So that's our top 8. And I'll have you know this. It's going to be very hard for you boys to know this. But what I will say is our all-time most listened to podcast on the audio version, of course.
Can you remind me some of the episodes?
That's what I was going to say. It's going to be very hard for you to remember. Well, obviously, we've got the Ninja one. We've got Toxic Streamer Traits. We've got Worst Trap New Streamers 4-4. Why You Can't Be a Successful Streamer. We've got our guest episodes.
The Ninja one did really, really, really well on for like us. Like the Ninja one did really, really, really well for us. But maybe podcasts are different.
Yeah, could be. I don't want to give anything away.
The latest, I don't know how the podcast algo works. You go, Nick.
Yeah, I guess it's like, because the only thing that the listeners have, the only thing they have to go off of before they listen to the podcast is the title, right, Reapz? Like that's all they have to go off of.
Correct.
So if we're thinking about some of the titles that we've used in the past, that's so hard. I think I almost feel like maybe one of our later ones, just because we've had time to grow the podcast and we've gotten more listeners over time. So I'm gonna honestly probably the career one, like the one we did recently about the why streaming isn't a long-term career.
Okay.
I've had a realization. Nick
Okay.
said one of our latest ones, and that made me think. When you go to a podcast, when you go to a new series, when you go to watch TV and you go to watch a YouTube playlist, where do you start? You start episode 1. O is commenting, oh, I went back and I've been catching up from episode 1. We got a comment today from another person called Zelia being like, I'm watching from episode 1. I'm going to throw it out there. I think a lot of people probably watch from episode 1 and fall off. I'm going to say our very first one, which I think was YouTube versus Twitch, or was it Ludwig's face with the checking out meme?
I'm just going to double check.
That is
It
been
was the
downloaded.
Ludwig. Yeah.
What's our very first one? Because I think that one, because people would listen to that and be like, this isn't for me, and they won't continue on. Because that's how YouTube works. If I have a playlist of videos, the first one gets all the views, and then the next one gets less and less and less.
Okay.
I'm locking in. Our very first one has our most ever downloads.
Okay. I will have you know that the most ever downloads with
idea,
7.7% is Ludwig quit Twitch.
Oh, there we
Is that
go.
our first one? Is that
Nailed
actually
it.
our first one?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
That's how we watch TV.
Yes, you start from the first one. So I will round out the top 5. So there's Ludwig quit Twitch. That's got 7.7% of our downloads. Then Why You Can't Be a Successful Twitch Streamer featuring Lysel, which was about a month and a half later. That's 7%. The only Twitch meta that matters to grow is third with 6.6%, also 169. Very nice. The toxic streamer trait is terrible for viewers is number 4. And the worst trap new streamers fall for rounds out our top 5. So yeah,
they're all
that
early
is all
ones.
the analytics I'm going to give you today. But it's interesting to kind of see what people listen on, where they come from, all that kind of stuff. And you smashed it out of the park, you two. Absolutely know our audience, know our demographics, know our niche. And to the people who have listened from day dot, thank you so much. Let us know in the comments if you've listened from day dot. And again, give us those sweet, sweet questions. Lord knows we make episodes out of them. Jess is somebody that we've got on the payroll now. And by payroll, we mean if we see them, we'll give them, I don't know, a crunchy bar or something.
Yeah. A crisp high five.
I will not. What? You can give him a cruncher. I ain't giving anyone shit.
We've got a pool of funds. We'll take it out of petty cash. It'll be fine. And
We can give Jess any of the nuggets that you don't finish at your nugget eating competition at PAX.
like a seagull.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a dream come true. I'll be honest with you. You know what's interesting about this podcast on the topic of stuff? Do you guys ever think about the fact that sooner or later we're going to have to end the podcast and then start recording, like a 15, 20-minute bit, because we're incredibly close to 2 things. Memberships being unlocked on YouTube and monetization on YouTube.
Yep.
And probably figuring out how we're going to actually make this sustainable.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So sooner or later, I think I would like to ask you guys a question. If you're listening to this, all right, would you rather a off-platform thing like a Patreon, where you could support us at whatever amount you wanted, and you would get like little 30-minute episodes or something like that, or premium content? Or would you rather keep it all on one platform and sign up as like a member, which what it would be is like, just $1 or $2 or whatever. And then if you sign up, you get special member episodes, which are purely just only membership things, and they're like 30-minute episodes. Let us know in the comments what you would rather, because we will need to eventually start to look at creating something to support this.
Definitely. We've all taken a lot of, we've been working on this since last year, actually. And the fact that it's grown leaps and bounds, and I still see obviously exponential growth for what we're doing right now, thanks to everybody out there. And it means a great deal that you're listening. And of course, this isn't something that we're going to institute immediately, but at the moment, this is just a pet project for us. And I think we want it to be bigger and better. And to do that, obviously, we have to fund it. But at the moment, we will always, this podcast will always be free. Can we just say that
absolutely.
now?
Yes.
Yeah, podcast will always be free. Podcast will always be free.
That's why we're saying bonus.
Speaking.
Special
bonuses, exactly. Bonus things that you want. Let us know in the comments.
Nothing will change except there'll be a little cheeky bonus thing. Which could range.
When you said the bone and then the us, it was a good kind of, I was like, where's he going with it?
Coming soon, Stream Room only fans. No.
Well, you can do all that on Patreon, you know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Could do like just like all sorts of behind the scenes stuff. Like maybe we take a tour of each other's OBSs and see what they look like or something like that.
Our day of podcasting podcasting, our setup, everything like that, what we do, for sure. We'll think of interesting stuff. And if you've got interesting stuff for us, let us know, because that's where we get our best idea. I mean, that's where we take some homages to your ideas and make them our own. Totally don't steal them.
Take them all.
Yeah. Any last words, boys, before we drop frames?
Not really. Very, very analytical episode. I enjoyed the analytical episodes because I love data and stats, even if I don't look at them or care about them whatsoever anymore.
Yeah. They're always very interesting. And it's like when you do take the time to sort of really think about what they actually mean. And if you can understand them, what do these numbers mean? But no, guys, like, please like and subscribe, share the podcast. If you think there's someone that would really benefit or really enjoy the podcast, please just pass on to someone. Who knows? They might really enjoy it and become a regular listener / watcher. And also, again, guys, Q&A episode. Please leave your questions either in the comments or fill out the form that you'll be seeing in our streams and on the Twitter as well. So that Q&A episode is going to be the best chance to get those questions answered. So
yes, and can I just say this Monday that just passed, the 9th of May, we had our most downloads in one day for the audio podcast as well. So we're definitely going from strength to strength. If you look at the graph, boys, you can go in there, you can see it starts at 60, then it goes to 80, then it goes to 100.
What is it called?
How
do I see the audio ones? All I know is the video.
Isn't it Captivate? yeah, it's Captivate, right?
We use Captivate, and our password is. But if you go down, there's literally, there's right over here. There's insights. And you click on analytics and it shows you everything that you need to know. It's very, very cool. I'll post it again in the Discord for us. But from all of us here, we are dropping frames. We hope to see you next week. So leave everything and have a lovely week. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye. Stop recording.